My child, pause everything and hear me now. This moment is not ordinary. I am calling you into a divine interruption because time's running out. You're next in line for a miracle. This is not a whisper of comfort but a surge of urgency, a heavenly summons meant to shake you awake in your spirit. Do not take another step. Do not breathe another distracted breath until you let these words settle deep within you. I am about to reveal what has been set in motion, what is approaching your life with unstoppable force, and why this moment matters more than you realize. Listen to me now, because this is not random, not coincidence, not just another moment in your day. This is a holy interruption, and I am leaning close to speak directly to you. My child, draw near to me, because even as your eyes move across these words, I am moving toward you with intention, with tenderness, with purpose. You think you simply stumbled here, or that you are just reading something, but I tell you the truth. I orchestrated this exact moment in the fabric of time, knowing precisely what your heart would be carrying, what questions would be swirling in your mind, what heaviness would be pressing on your chest. I have watched you push through your days with a silent ache, pretending to be strong, holding yourself together in front of others, while inside you quietly wonder, Lord, do you still see me? Do you still know me? Do you still care? I have seen every one of those unspoken questions. I have heard every word you never said out loud. I have been present in the car rides where you stared out of the window and thought, something has to give. Something has to change. I was there in the dark, when you lay awake staring at the ceiling, scrolling through your phone, trying to distract yourself from the knot of anxiety in your chest. You felt alone, but you were never, not for a single breath, abandoned. I watched you get up when you didn't feel like getting up. I saw you show up for people who had no idea how exhausted your soul was. I noticed when you swallowed your tears just to keep peace, when you smiled so others wouldn't worry about you. I have counted each tear that slid down your face and disappeared into your pillow. Not one of them slipped past my awareness. You have walked through days where it felt like nobody really understood the depth of what you carry. But I know it all, the disappointments you don't talk about, the dreams you quietly buried because you were tired of being let down, the prayers you stopped praying because you assumed the answer was no. My beloved, hear me. I summoned you into this moment because I am not finished with you. I am not silent toward you, and I am not indifferent to your story. The timing of this encounter is precise because I know how close you are to giving up on things I never told you to release. I know how the clock in your mind screams, it's too late, too far gone, too broken, too delayed. But I am the one who stands outside of time and steps into it. And I chose now to whisper to you that I am here, that I am speaking, that I am not done. You are not reading this by chance. You are being pursued by a love that refuses to let you drift away unnoticed. So lean in, open your heart, and let every part of you, the weary, the confused, the hopeful, the afraid, come closer. Because what I am about to unfold in your life is connected to this very moment of you choosing to listen. Listen to me again, because what I'm about to reveal reaches into the deepest places of your heart. I have seen every hidden tear you tried to disguise as strength. You have walked through seasons where you felt you had to be the strong one, the responsible one, the steady one, even while something inside you felt like it was quietly breaking. You wiped your face quickly in the bathroom, pretending it was just allergies. You turned away from the mirror so you wouldn't have to see your own pain staring back at you. You have whispered, "I'm fine," even when your voice trembled and your soul felt anything but fine. And yet through all of it, I have been closer than your breath, watching over you, holding every unspoken sorrow with a tenderness far deeper than you have ever experienced from another human being. There were mornings when you woke up already tired, nights where you crumbled under the weight of something you couldn't even name, afternoons where you kept yourself busy so you wouldn't have to feel the ache that pulsed beneath the surface. And even in those moments, when you believed no one knew, no one cared, no one saw, I did. I saw the way your heart tightened when someone's words cut deeper than they realized. I saw the way you tried to stay hopeful even when disappointment seemed to collect like shadows around your spirit. I saw the way you longed for someone to truly understand you, truly hear you, truly stay. You have carried pain that others dismissed. You have hidden wounds behind laughter. You have pretended to be okay just to avoid burdening people who were never meant to carry your heart in the first place. But understand this. Every tear you cried alone has been held in my compassion, and none of them were wasted. You thought those tears were signs of weakness, but they were actually signs of your endurance, evidence that even in your breaking, you refused to give up. They were prayers you didn't know how to form, pleas you didn't have words for, longings you couldn't articulate. I heard them all. And even now, as you remember those painful moments, I am gently reminding you that I have always been present, always attentive, always watching with love, not judgment. Those tears were not proof of your failure. They were proof of your humanity and my nearness. And as you continue to walk with me in this unfolding journey, I will show you how those tears have watered the ground beneath your feet, preparing you for healing you once believed was impossible. You are not unseen. You never were. Hear me now with the weight of truth, because this is something you have carried for far too long. I have heard every whispered question you've asked in the privacy of your heart, especially the one you repeat most. Lord, when will it be my turn? You have looked at the blessings of others and wondered why your life has felt stuck in waiting. You celebrated others while privately wrestling with disappointment. You've tried to be grateful for what you have, even as you wondered why what you long for seems so close to others, but still so far from you. And I want you to know, I never shamed you for asking. Your question was not a sign of disbelief. It was a sign of longing, a sign of hope still alive beneath the weight of delay. You have battled feelings that you didn't dare admit out loud, jealousy that you didn't want, sadness that felt unreasonable, frustration you tried to suppress because you thought it made you ungrateful. Yet every single time you whispered, "When, Lord?" I answered with patience, not anger, with compassion, not condemnation. I know the ache of waiting better than anyone realizes. I know what it feels like for your heart to yearn for something your hands still cannot touch. I know the discomfort of the in-between, the space where you are no longer who you once were, yet not yet where you long to be. But hear this clearly, not once did I ignore those questions. Not once did I pretend I didn't hear the cry behind your words. You may have felt like you were speaking into the air, yet every syllable reached me. Every sigh reached me. Every moment of emotional exhaustion reached me. And though I did not answer in the timing you expected, my silence was never absence. It was timing. It was preparation. It was alignment. You weren't waiting because I forgot you. You were waiting because what I've prepared requires maturity, strength, and capacity you didn't yet realize you were developing. And while you counted the days and wondered how much longer you had to endure the season, I was counting your growth, not the minutes on a clock. I was shaping your heart to hold the very thing you've been praying for. I was aligning details behind the scenes that had to fall into perfect place. I was preparing the miracle to fit you, not someone else, not a version of you from the past, but the you that is standing here now, strengthened by everything you have survived. So when you asked me when will it be my turn, I did not ignore you. I did not delay out of cruelty. I delayed because the miracle I am forming for you requires exact timing, and that timing is approaching faster than you realize. Let me tell you something you have feared admitting out loud. You feel like time is running out, slipping through your fingers faster than you can catch it. But I want you to understand that time is not your enemy, because I hold every moment, every second, every season in my hands. You have looked at your life and wondered if you missed your chance, if you ruined your opportunity, if you waited too long, if circumstances stole what should have been yours. You've watched the calendar pages turn and felt pressure tighten around your heart, whispering that you're behind, that you're late, that you've wasted too much time to ever recover. But my beloved, that voice is not mine. You measure your life by clocks and deadlines and ages and milestones, but I operate outside of all of those. You fear that you don't have enough time left, yet you forget that I am the one who created time itself, and I am not bound by what binds you. While you worry that you have lost too many years, I stand ready to restore years you thought were gone forever. While you stress about delays, I am using delays to align what would have broken you if it came too soon. Time bends to my will, not the other way around. You look at others who seem ahead and assume you've fallen behind, but you are not late. You are right on schedule for the destiny I crafted uniquely for you. I did not design your journey to match anyone else's. Your timeline is custom, intentional, divinely orchestrated. And even when you feel like the hours are slipping away, I have been using every moment, even the painful ones, to prepare you for where I am taking you next. You have feared endings, but I am the God who writes new beginnings. You have feared loss, but I am the God who resurrects. You have feared the ticking clock, but I am the God who stops time, slows time, accelerates time, and redeems time. Nothing is slipping through your fingers that I cannot return to you in greater measure. So do not let the rush of life convince you that you are too late for my grace, too late for my plans, too late for my miracles. You are standing in a moment where time itself is shifting, not against you, but for you. And as the next words unfold, I will show you how your waiting is not evidence of my neglect but evidence of my precision. You fear time because you think you're racing against it, but hear me. Time is not outrunning you. I am orchestrating it around you. Feel this truth settle into your spirit. The pressure that has been building around your life is not evidence that I have abandoned you. It is evidence that you are standing on the threshold of breakthrough. You have been interpreting the intensity as a sign that something has gone wrong, that something is off course, that something has slipped beyond repair. But hear me clearly. Pressure is often the final signal that transformation is taking place beneath the surface. You are not being crushed. You are being reshaped. You are not being punished. You are being positioned. You are not being overwhelmed because you are weak, but because you are shifting into something stronger than you have ever realized. You have wondered why everything seems harder now than before, why the battles feel heavier, why your emotions feel more volatile, why your mind feels more tired, why your patience feels stretched thin. But child, pressure increases right before release. A seed buried in the ground experiences the greatest tension the moment it breaks open to sprout. A mother feels the sharpest contractions moments before birth. The night is darkest in the minutes before dawn. Pressure is not the sign of the end. It is the sign that something is beginning. You have assumed that the struggle means something is wrong with you, but what you're actually feeling is the weight of what you're being prepared to step into. When you prayed for growth, you did not realize that growth requires stretching. When you prayed for strength, you didn't know strength is built through resistance. When you asked for breakthrough, you didn't expect the ground beneath you to tremble. But I am not allowing this pressure to destroy you. I am using it to unlock something within you that remained dormant until now. You may feel like you're being pressed on every side, emotionally, financially, spiritually, mentally, but that pressing is forming something that ease never could. I am shaping resilience in you, faith in you, clarity in you, wisdom in you. You are becoming someone who will not just receive the miracle, but sustain it. There is a version of you emerging through this pressure who will walk with confidence, authority, and spiritual maturity you did not have in previous seasons. And as we continue, understand this. The pressure is not random or cruel. It is purposeful. It is divine preparation. It is the unmistakable sign that your breakthrough has begun its approach. You do not need to run from it. Walk through it with me, knowing that every ounce of pressure is pushing you into the miracle you've been waiting for. Hear this with the gravity it deserves. You assumed the delay in your life meant I was displeased with you. But I am telling you now, the delay was never punishment. It was preparation. You have carried guilt for seasons that felt slow, stagnant, or unproductive. You blamed yourself for timelines you couldn't control, for opportunities that didn't unfold, for dreams that seemed to go silent. But I was never withholding out of anger. I was shaping you for the very thing you have been waiting for. The delay you resented was actually the protection you needed. You wondered why others seemed to advance while you remained still. You felt overlooked, forgotten, or set aside. You questioned whether you lacked something essential: discipline, talent, favor, worth. But the truth is, you were not lacking anything. You were being fortified. I was deepening your foundation so that when the weight of the miracle arrived, you would not collapse under it. What looked like inactivity was internal strengthening. What felt like stagnation was sacred preparation. I was teaching you how to endure, how to discern, how to trust, how to grow in ways you couldn't see yet. Delays have a way of challenging your faith. They force you to confront your fears, your doubts, your impatience. They expose the parts of your heart that still cling to control. And though the process felt frustrating, even painful, it purified your motives. It refined your desires. It taught you to recognize my voice over the noise of your circumstances. You no longer want the blessing just to feel validated. You want it because you've become the person who can steward it well. If I had given you what you prayed for too early, it would have overwhelmed you. It might have distracted you. It could have pulled you away from me instead of drawing you closer. But now, after the waiting, the stretching, the refining, you are ready in ways you were not before. You are wiser. You are humbler. You are spiritually awakened to what matters. And the very delay that once felt like disappointment will soon reveal itself as the groundwork that made the miracle possible. So walk with me into this next part of the journey, understanding that nothing hath been wasted. Not the waiting, not the longing, not the silence. Every delay was part of the divine design, shaping you for what comes next. Let me draw back the curtain of your life for a moment, so you can see what you've missed. I have been shaping your faith in quiet places, in hidden rooms of your heart where no one else could see what I was doing. Others saw your public strength, your outward endurance, your ability to keep moving forward, but they had no idea of the intimate work happening beneath the surface. I have been sculpting your faith in moments so subtle you didn't even recognize them as divine. When you felt alone, I was teaching you to depend on me. When you felt overlooked, I was teaching you that my recognition matters more than human applause. When you felt uncertain, I was teaching you to trust my leading even without clarity. You mistook those quiet seasons as empty seasons, but they were the most spiritually productive chapters of your life. I was not silent. I was working. I was not distant. I was weaving. I was not withholding. I was fortifying your inner world so that your outer world could one day expand without shaking your foundation. Faith is not built in crowds. It is built in solitude. It is strengthened in the moments when you choose to believe even when nothing looks promising. When you whispered prayers that seemed to go unanswered, I was developing perseverance within you. When you chose to rise again after disappointment, I was shaping resilience. When you forgave someone who never apologized, I was forming grace in you. When you hoped again after hopelessness, I was nurturing spiritual maturity. Others have no idea how hard you fought to stay faithful. They don't know the nights you prayed until your voice trembled. They don't know the battles you endured in silence. They don't know the temptations you resisted or the tears you shed or the courage it took to keep believing. But I know. I saw it all. Every hidden moment became a brick in the foundation of your faith. And now, that quiet foundation is becoming the platform for the miracle you're about to witness. What I have built in secret will sustain what I reveal in public. What I have nurtured in silence will amplify what I pour out openly. What was unseen is about to become undeniable. So continue forward with the assurance that nothing about your journey has been wasted or unnoticed. You have been strengthened in silence so that you can shine in due season, and that season is drawing near. Hear me with the full weight of what I am about to say. You have grown stronger in ways you never recognized, and the strength rising within you is not accidental. I have been building it in you, layer by layer, moment by moment, even when you were unaware it was happening. You often look at your life and see only the moments where you struggled, the seasons where you felt tired, the circumstances that stretched you beyond what you thought you could endure. But I saw something different in those moments. I saw the forging of a resilience you did not know you possessed. You believed you were barely surviving, but I was shaping a strength that would soon become undeniable. Every time you pressed forward when you wanted to quit, something inside you grew. Every time you chose hope when despair felt easier, something within you expanded. Every time you refused to let fear dictate your decisions, something deep in your spirit was fortified. You have underestimated yourself because you often judge your strength by your feelings, not realizing that true power is forged in the tension between your weakness and my grace. You felt fragile, but fragility does not dismiss the strength that was being formed beneath the surface. There were days when you felt emotionally drained, mentally exhausted, spiritually numb, yet you still kept going. You still chose to believe. You still leaned into me even when you didn't understand me. You called it survival. I call it strength. A strength I intentionally nurtured because of what I know is coming. I allowed certain situations not to break you, but to build you. I allowed certain frustration not to discourage you, but to deepen you. I allowed certain challenges not to shame you, but to sharpen you. You prayed for growth, and I responded by giving you experiences that required you to dig deeper, stand firmer, and learn to trust me more fully. You think strength comes when everything is easy, but true strength emerges when everything feels uncertain, and yet you continue walking. It is in the moments of stretching that spiritual endurance is formed. And now, even if you don't fully see it yet, you are not who you once were. You carry a steadiness that was born from storms. You carry a wisdom that came from wounds. You carry a courage that was carved out of fear. And all of it, every bit of it, is preparing you for the miracle before you. What's coming requires a stronger version of you, not because the blessing is heavy, but because the responsibility that comes with it is sacred. You will not simply receive what you prayed for, you will sustain it. And this strength, the one I have been building slowly and intentionally, is the very strength that will hold you steady in the next chapter you are about to step into. Let this truth pierce through the lies you've believed. The battles that made you doubt your worth were never meant to define you. They were meant to train you, shape you, refine you, and prepare you for the magnitude of what I have planned. You have walked through conflicts, internal and external, that left you wondering if something was wrong with you. You questioned why life seemed harder for you than others. You wondered why you faced attacks that felt personal and relentless. You wrestled with the feeling that maybe you were not enough, not chosen, not favored. But child, the battles you fought were not signs of unworthiness. They were signs of calling. You don't get attacked on that level unless what's inside you threatens the darkness. There were moments when your heart felt bruised from harsh words, broken relationships, unresolved conflicts, and disappointments that haunted you. But even in those moments, you were being trained. You were learning perseverance, compassion, inner clarity, and spiritual discernment. You were learning to separate your identity from your circumstances, to understand that your worth is not determined by how people treat you, by how life unfolds, or by the failures you've encountered. You were learning to anchor your identity in something eternal, in me. You questioned whether the battle meant you had done something wrong, but I tell you the truth. Battles often come to those I am preparing for greater influence, greater impact, greater spiritual authority. You cannot carry the blessing I am preparing for you if your sense of worth can be shaken by every storm. So I use your battles, not to harm you, but to teach you how to stand firm, how to rise above lies, how to walk in the confidence of who you truly are. Those painful experiences were not wasted. They trained you to recognize what is counterfeit so you can recognize what is genuine. They trained you to protect your peace so you can steward your blessings. They trained you to trust your inner discernment so that when I elevate you, you will not lose yourself. The battles shaped your character, purified your motives, and deepened your reliance on me. And now, as you step further into this unfolding season, I want you to understand the truth. The battles did not diminish your worth. They revealed it. They exposed the strength within you. They awakened the calling over you. And they prepared you for the harvest that is already approaching your life. You were not weakened, you were trained. And that training is about to show its purpose. Hear this with clarity and let it settle deeply into your weary thoughts. You are not behind, not delayed, not late. You are perfectly aligned with my divine timeline for your life. You have measured your progress against others, comparing your journey to people who seem further ahead, faster, more successful, more settled. You have looked at your life and wondered if you missed opportunities, wasted years, or took too long to heal, too long to grow, too long to get it together. But I tell you now, not a single step of your journey hath been out of rhythm with what I have planned. You are exactly where you need to be for what I am about to do next. You think you are behind because you see the outer timelines of others, but you do not see the inner work I have been doing within you. You do not see the spiritual foundation you have developed, the faith muscle that has grown silently, the wisdom that has been formed through your struggles. My timelines do not follow human logic. I am not constrained by age, seasons, deadlines, or milestones. What takes others decades can happen for you in a moment when my hand moves. What seemed delayed can suddenly accelerate. What felt dormant can awaken in an instant. You are not behind. You are being prepared. You are not slow. You are being positioned. You are not forgotten. You are being refined. Every chapter of your story has brought you here, to this pivotal moment where things are shifting. You needed time to heal certain wounds before stepping into your next season. You needed time to release certain people, patterns, and fears that could not go with you into your future. You needed time to build the resilience required for the blessing I am sending. You needed time to grow into the version of yourself that could carry with grace what I am about to place into your hands. Nothing in your journey is wasted. Not the detours, not the delays, not the heartbreaks, not the wandering seasons. I have been weaving every moment into a tapestry far more intricate than you can see right now. And when you look back later, you will realize that you were never late. You were being guided. You were being shaped. You were being prepared for a life that fits you, honors you, and blesses you beyond what you imagine. So release the fear of being behind. Release the pressure to catch up. Release the guilt for what you think took too long. You are right on schedule for the miracle that is approaching, and as we continue, you will begin to see exactly how my timing was always perfect. Listen closely, because this touches the very place where your hope has thinned. You have watched others step into seasons of blessing, breakthrough, and answered prayer, and somewhere inside you wondered if I passed by you. But I tell you now, with unwavering certainty, I have not overlooked you for even a moment. You have celebrated others genuinely, even while quietly battling the ache of your own unmet longings. You clapped for them, prayed for them, rejoiced with them, but afterward, in the privacy of your heart, a whisper formed, "Lord, did you forget me? Did you skip my name? Did you decide someone else was more deserving?" You tried to silence it, but it lingered, echoing every time someone else shared good news. You felt joy for them, yet pain for yourself, and you thought that made you ungrateful. But hear me, that ache didn't disqualify you. It revealed the depth of your desire and the honesty of your heart. Every time you saw someone else's miracle unfold, you thought it meant your own was farther away, but that is not how my timing works. What I do for another is not an announcement of what you're lacking. It's a reminder of what is possible. Your blessing was never a barrier to yours. Their breakthrough was never a threat to your future. The miracles you witnessed in the lives of others were signs that I am moving, that I am active, that I am present, and if I am doing it for them, I am also preparing something for you. You were not skipped. You were being positioned. There were blessings you wanted that were not ready yet. There were opportunities you desired that would have harmed you if they came too soon. There were people you longed for who were never meant to walk with you into your next chapter. What looked like delay was actually protection. What felt like silence was careful orchestration. And the blessings you saw given to others were never meant to discourage you. They were meant to strengthen your vision, to assure you that I am still the God who moves, still the God who answers, still the God who shows up in unexpected ways. I have watched you celebrate others even when you didn't know your own season was approaching. I have seen you keep your faith even when your heart felt tender. I have watched you stay faithful in rooms where you felt invisible. And because of that, understand this deeply. You have not been forgotten. You have been remembered in ways you cannot yet see. Your name is written in places you haven't entered. Your answer is growing in places you haven't walked. Your blessing is forming in realms you haven't witnessed. And soon you will see that I never skipped over you. I was saving something specifically, intentionally, beautifully for you. Let me reveal a truth that will shift the way you see every moment of waiting. The miracle you've been praying for has been moving toward you long before you ever felt anything changing. You often assumed that silence meant inactivity, that stillness meant nothing was happening, that lack of evidence meant lack of progress. You thought that because you couldn't see the movement, there was no movement at all. But miracles rarely announce themselves in their early stages. Often, the greatest breakthroughs unfold in the invisible realm long before they become visible in your life. Just because you couldn't feel it does not mean it wasn't happening. You prayed prayers that felt like they floated into the air without response, not realizing those prayers initiated a chain reaction in the unseen world. I was aligning people you haven't met yet. I was opening doors you haven't approached yet. I was shifting circumstances that were miles away from your awareness. I was preparing opportunities that were not ready to be revealed. Miracles have trajectories. and yours began moving the moment you asked. But sometimes a miracle must grow, mature, and reach fullness before it can meet you. Think of how seasons change. Spring begins long before you see the first bloom. Think of how dawn approaches. The sun starts rising before the sky reveals the light. In the same way, your miracle began unfolding long before your life showed signs of it. What you called delay was actually the preparation stage of something profound. There were details that needed aligning, hearts that needed softening, situations that needed shifting. You prayed for something big, and big answers require divine coordination. And even when you felt discouraged, even when you doubted, even when you convinced yourself nothing was happening, the miracle did not stop moving. It kept advancing toward your life with steady, unstoppable purpose. You weren't waiting in vain. You weren't waiting for nothing. You were waiting for fulfillment. The absence of evidence was never evidence of absence. You are closer now than you've ever been. A miracle is not lost. It is not stalled. It is not denied. It is on approach. And soon you will look back and realize that the very moments you assumed were empty were actually the moments where the miracle gained momentum. Let this truth settle into the parts of your heart that still ache from disappointment. Every closed door, every detour, every delay, every unanswered prayer, and every not yet you have endured was not meant to harm you. It was meant to guide you. You saw those moments as rejection, but I saw them as redirection. You interpreted them as loss, but I designed them as protection. You felt them as setbacks, but they were setups. While you grieved the doors that closed, I celebrated the traps you avoided. While you mourned the opportunities that slipped away, I rejoiced over the dangers that never reached you. You did not know what was on the other side of the doors you begged me to open, but I did. You saw what you wanted. I saw what you needed. You saw the short-term path. I saw the long-term destiny. You saw immediate relief. I saw lasting fulfillment. Sometimes I must close doors that your heart desperately wants to walk through because those doors lead to places your soul cannot thrive. Sometimes I must allow detours because the straight path would have left you unprepared. Sometimes not yet is the only answer that keeps you aligned with what will bless you instead of break you. Every delay, every shift, every unexpected turn hath been part of a precise orchestration. You think you wandered, but you were being led. You think you got lost, but I was rerouting you. You think you took the long way, but I was protecting you from shortcuts that would have cost you more than you could imagine. The places you thought were dead ends were actually divine pivots. The people who left were making room for those appointed to enter. The opportunities that fell through were clearing the path for something far greater. And now, as you stand on the edge of what I am about to unfold, you will begin to see how every step, even the confusing ones, brought you here. You are not late. You are not misplaced. You are not off track. You are precisely where you need to be for the miracle that is approaching. Your journey has not been a maze of mistakes, but a map of divine wisdom. And soon, the doors that open will make everything else make sense. Hear me with the weight of divine intention. Long before you sensed anything shifting, I was already aligning circumstances, people, and moments to position your life exactly where it needed to be for what is coming next. You often think your journey is shaped by chance, coincidence, or your own decisions alone, but there is a far greater orchestration happening behind the veil of what you can see. Every person who entered your life, every person who left, every opportunity that appeared, every situation that changed without warning, none of it happened randomly. I have been weaving threads you didn't even know existed. You felt the tension, but you couldn't see the tapestry. You questioned the chaos, not realizing it was construction. You saw scattered fragments where I saw forming strategy, There were moments when you didn't understand why certain relationships shifted so suddenly, why doors you were sure would open stayed firmly shut, why unexpected responsibilities landed on your shoulders, why unexpected blessings arrived out of nowhere. But this is the truth. I have been arranging the exact ingredients needed for the season you are stepping into. Some people needed to exit so they wouldn't hinder your progress. Some needed to enter because they carry something essential for your future. Some situations needed to collapse because they were built on foundations not strong enough to carry where I'm taking you. Some needed to rise because they were divinely timed stepping stones. You have been positioned, not by your own strength, not by chance, but by my intentional hand. Even the moments that felt like setbacks were strategically placed to redirect your momentum. You thought you were stuck, but I was shifting the ground beneath you. You thought you were lost, but I was guiding you through a terrain your eyes weren't trained to understand. You thought you were waiting for alignment, but I tell you now, alignment has been happening the entire time. Nothing is separate. Everything is connected. And soon, you will begin to see how every piece was necessary. The timing will make sense. The people will make sense. The delays will make sense. What felt scattered will suddenly converge, and you will realize I have been preparing the environment around you as much as I have been preparing the heart within you. So walk forward with peace. You are not out of place. You are precisely placed for what comes next. Let this truth settle deeply in your spirit. The path you walked, the one filled with twists, turns, confusion, and uncertainty, was never random, because heaven itself has been choreographing every step you've taken. You have looked at your journey and wondered whether you made the wrong choices, whether you turned left when you should have turned right, whether you missed the signs or misread the seasons. You have questioned the zigzags, the pauses, the detours, the unexpected disruptions. But I tell you now, I have been guiding your feet even when you didn't realize you were being guided. Nothing in your path have been wasted, not a single step. There were days when you moved forward unsure, trembling with doubt, feeling your way through the dark. There were days when you made decisions with tears in your eyes, praying you weren't making a mistake. There were days when you felt directionless, wandering, uncertain of where you were going. But you were never wandering. You were being led. You were never lost. You were being redirected. You were never aimless. You were being positioned. Every step, even the ones you regretted, even the ones you questioned, even the ones you made in weakness or fear, has been woven into a divine choreography. You see a path, I see a journey. You see interruptions, and I see orchestration. You see confusion, I see development. When you walked away from something that no longer fit, it was because heaven whispered strength into your spirit. When you stayed somewhere longer than you wanted to, it was because heaven was building endurance. When you shifted direction unexpectedly, it was because heaven opened a new lane beneath your feet. There were moments when you asked, Lord, is this really the way? And heaven responded not with words, but with invisible guidance, a peace here, a discomfort there, an open door, a closed opportunity, an unexpected prompting, an inner knowing. I have surrounded you with signs even when you didn't recognize them as signs. I have whispered through circumstances even when they felt chaotic. I have aligned environments even when they felt unfamiliar. So understand this. The path you walked was not the path you chose alone. It was a path chosen for you, with you, through you. Heaven has choreographed every step, not to overwhelm you, but to ensure you arrive exactly where you are meant to be in this unfolding season. Walk forward now, knowing you are not stepping into uncertainty. You are stepping into destiny. Let this revelation enter the deepest parts of you. The very moment you believed nothing was happening, nothing was moving, nothing was shifting, that was the moment I was working the most. You often measure progress by what you can see, touch, or feel. If nothing visibly changes, you assume I am silent or still. But the greatest spiritual movements begin in the unseen, where your eyes cannot perceive and your emotions cannot interpret. You thought the quiet season meant abandonment, but it actually meant acceleration. You thought my silence meant inactivity, but it meant strategy. You thought the stillness meant you had been forgotten, but it meant your miracle was being carefully assembled. There were days when you felt like your prayers were bouncing off the ceiling. Days when you whispered my name and felt no response. Days when you asked for direction and received nothing but silence. But that silence wasn't absence, it was concentration. I was working in ways you couldn't comprehend, shifting circumstances around you, aligning people beyond you, preparing answers ahead of you. While you felt forgotten, I was securing your future. Consider this. Seeds do their greatest growing underground, hidden, unseen, silent. And yet in that hiddenness, the most crucial transformation occurs. Your life has mirrored this. In the seasons where everything seemed still, my work was most active. In the seasons where nothing made sense, my strategy was most precise. In the seasons where you felt stuck, I was unlocking things you would later step into. I worked in conversations you never heard, in rooms where your name was mentioned, in hearts I was softening, in opportunities I was preparing, in obstacles I was removing. You thought nothing was happening, but everything was happening, just beyond your field of vision. Only now will you begin to understand how much has been unfolding beneath the surface. So hear me. Silence is not abandonment. Stillness is not inactivity. Delay is not denial. When you saw nothing, I was working. When you felt nothing, I was moving. When you sensed nothing, I was building. And soon, what was hidden will become visible. What was delayed will be delivered, and what was silent will speak loudly in your life. Let this truth shake the fear out of your worries. While you are standing in your today, I have already walked through your tomorrow, inspected every hour of it, and prepared every detail before you ever take a single step into it. You fear what you cannot see, the unknowns, the uncertainties, the possibilities that keep you awake at night. You replay scenarios in your mind, trying to anticipate outcomes, trying to brace yourself for disappointment or prepare yourself for unexpected change. But child, understand this. There is not a single moment of your future that is a mystery to me. Long before you get there, I have already been there. I have walked through the decisions you will make, the conversations you will have, the challenges you will face, and the blessings you will embrace. Nothing surprises me, and nothing catches me off guard. Nothing unfolds without my awareness. When you fear the future, it's because you're trying to navigate it with limited sight. You see only a step at a time, but I see the entire path, the twists, the turns, the hidden blessings, the unexpected breakthroughs. I see where the enemy plans to discourage you, and I have already placed strength there. I see where doubt wants to creep in, and I have already put reminders of my promise there. I see where doors seem closed, and I have already prepared keys you haven't discovered yet. You assume I am waiting with you, but I am preparing ahead of you. I don't meet you in your tomorrow. I lead you into it. You have worried about decisions that are already answered. You have stressed over needs I have already provided for. You have feared scenarios that will never happen because I have already redirected their outcomes. When you step into your tomorrow, you will find me there, not scrambling to adjust to circumstances, but standing firm, having arranged everything according to what will bless you, grow you, strengthen you, and position you. You don't have to fear your future. You don't have to dread what comes next. You don't have to live anxious about tomorrow's challenges, because I have already woven solutions into them. I have filled your future with grace. I have lined your path with mercy. I have ordained encounters, open doors, and divine moments that will reveal my hand in ways you never imagined. So breathe, child. Tomorrow is not a threat. It is a place I have already prepared for you with intention and love. Hear me with expectancy. You are stepping into a season where things that felt frozen, stagnant, unmoving, and unchanging will suddenly shift, not gradually, not subtly, but with a momentum that will feel almost shocking to you. You have carried situations that seem immovable. You've dealt with circumstances that felt sealed shut. You've prayed over areas of your life that seemed resistant to change. For so long, you felt like you were pushing against walls that refused to budge, pulling on doors that refused to open, waiting for answers that refused to reveal themselves. And the longer things stayed stuck, the more you wondered if change would ever come. But understand this: some seasons require stillness until the appointed hour of movement arrives. There are breakthroughs that cannot happen until everything aligns. There are shifts that cannot occur until I say, now. And the moment of now is approaching over your life. This next chapter is not one of stagnation. It is one of acceleration. What was delayed will advance. What was silent will speak. What was restrained will break loose. But with lot will love. You will see movement in places where you only ever saw resistance. You will feel it first as a stirring, a sense of inner shifting, a heightened sensitivity, a renewed hope, an unexpected strength. Then doors will begin to move, conversations will open, opportunities will appear, relationships will shift, burdens will lift. Things that seemed impossible will suddenly become possible. Things that once required great effort will begin to unfold with ease. Not because you changed, but because the season changed you. You are entering the chapter where heaven's timing meets your obedience, creating momentum that cannot be stopped. And when this movement begins, you will realize something profound. The stillness you hated was the very ground that allowed the shift to be stable. The delay you feared was the preparation that ensured the acceleration would not overwhelm you. You weren't stuck, you were being held in place until the perfect moment for release. So prepare your spirit. What felt immovable is about to move, and it will move quickly. Take this into your heart with reverence. The breakthrough that once felt impossible, unreachable, unrealistic, or too big to hope for will unfold effortlessly, not because of your strength, but because of my presence. You have spent years trying. You've spent nights strategizing. You've spent seasons doing everything in your power to make change happen. And each time you hit a wall, the disappointment grew heavier. You told yourself it would take a miracle, not realizing that a miracle was exactly what I've been preparing. There are breakthroughs you cannot force, blessings you cannot manipulate, and doors you cannot pry open, because they are spiritual breakthroughs, not earthly accomplishments. They require my hand, my timing, my favor, my intervention. And when I move, it does not look like struggle. It looks like grace. It looks like ease. It looks like peace replacing panic, clarity replacing confusion, opportunities meeting you instead of you chasing them. The things you could not figure out will suddenly make sense. The prayers you prayed for years will begin unfolding in days. The barriers that stood against you will crumble without you lifting a hand. The breakthroughs that once required striving will come with simplicity because my presence will be the force behind them. What felt like a mountain will become a level path. What felt like chains will turn into open gates. What felt overwhelming will fade into relief. And understand this: Effortless does not mean unearned. It means divinely supported. You stood, you waited, you believed, you endured. You fought battles no one knew. You carried burdens no one saw. You remained faithful when you had every reason to give up. And now, the release will come not through your pushing, but through my power. Stay close to me. Stay in my presence. Because the breakthrough unfolding in this season is not something you will have to chase. It is something that will rise to meet you. Hear this with a power that cuts through every anxious thought. You have been afraid of running out of time, but time itself is not the master of your destiny. It is the servant of my will, and it bows to my command concerning your life. You have looked at the calendar, the clock, the passing years, and felt a tightening inside your soul. You've whispered to yourself, I'm too late, I should have been further by now, I missed my moment, I wasted too many seasons, I lost too much time. You've allowed age, timelines, regret, and comparison to convince you that something precious has slipped through your fingers. But hear me, nothing that belongs to you can outrun my power, and nothing I plan for you can expire. I am not limited by time. I hold it, bend it, multiply it, extend it, and redeem it. You think time's against you because you measure life through human milestones. You look at where others are and assume you should be in the same place. You think slow means late. You think stillness means stagnation. You think delay means decline. But I operate outside of your clocks and circles. I do not rush because of time, nor am I hindered by it. When I choose to move, I can accelerate what would have taken years and accomplish it in a moment. I can restore what you thought was gone. I can revive what you buried. I can redeem what you wasted. Time is not lost in my hands. It is transformed. You have feared the years that passed while you waited. But those years were not empty. They were working for you, shaping you, positioning you, preparing you. You are not behind. You are aligned. You are not late. You are arriving at the precise moment where everything finally fits. And the season you are entering now will prove this truth. Time does not control your calling. I do. Time does not dictate your destiny. I do. Time does not decide when your miracle manifests. I do. I am commanding time to favor you. I am commanding time to open what was once closed. I am commanding time to return opportunities you thought were gone forever. I am commanding time to bring harvest from seeds you forgot you planted. And when this unfolds, you will understand that you never needed more time. You only needed my timing. And my timing is now drawing near. Let this revelation overturn every hopeless conclusion you've drawn. The very thing you labeled too late is arriving exactly on time according to my plan for your life. You looked at situations that seemed long past redemption, dreams you thought were dead, opportunities you believed had expired, relationships you assumed would never heal, seasons you thought were permanently closed. You told yourself, it's too late for this. Too much time has passed. Too much damage hath been done. Too much has changed you. But you are speaking from a vantage point limited by human understanding. I see the span of your whole life, the past you survived, the present you are walking through, and the future I have already prepared. And from that eternal perspective, I declare, nothing that is mine is ever too late. You have believed late meant lost. But with me, late often means perfectly aligned. A promise delayed is not a promise denied. It is a promise preserved until its appointed hour. You assume earlier would have been better, easier, simpler. But earlier would have found you unprepared, unaware, unformed in ways you now need to succeed. You need a certain wound healed, certain mind is broken, certain wisdom gained, certain door closed, certain pedal rewound, certain strength developed. Earlier would have overwhelmed you. But now you carry the endurance, resilience, discernment, and identity required to receive the very thing you once feared had passed you by. I specialize in resurrection, bringing life to what looked dead, restoring what looked lost, reviving what looked finished. When I step in, timing bends, circumstances shift, possibilities open, and situations that seemed irreversible begin to turn with supernatural ease. You call it too late. I call it right on time. And soon, you will see that the timing you once questioned was the very thing that protected you. Your miracle is not early, not late. It is precise. And it is on its way. Receive this truth with humility and relief. Some blessings did not arrive earlier not because you were unworthy, but because your heart was not yet ready to hold what you were asking for. You prayed for things that required a depth you hadn't yet reached. You longed for blessings that required a maturity you hadn't yet developed. You cried for answers that required healing that had not yet taken place within you. You assumed delay meant denial, but delay meant preparation. Preparation of you. Not your circumstances, not your opportunities, not your surroundings. You. Because you are the vessel that must carry, sustain, and steward the blessing once it comes. There were seasons when you would have mishandled what you now desire. There were times when insecurity would have poisoned your promise, when fear would have sabotaged your progress, when impatience would have rushed you into ruin. There were places in your heart that were still fragile, still hurting, still reactive, still influenced by wounds that needed to be healed before you could safely receive what you were praying for. I love you too deeply to give you something that would break you. You asked me for blessings that required you to first become whole. You asked me for opportunities that required you to first become wise. You asked me for miracles that required you to first become steady. And so I waited, not to punish you, but to protect you. Not to hold you back, but to hold you together. I waited until the fear loosened, until your faith strengthened, until your discernment sharpened, until your identity solidified. I waited until your heart became a safe home for the blessing. And now that your heart hath been shaped, refined, healed, stretched, strengthened, and matured, you are finally ready to hold what once would have slipped through your fingers. The blessing is prepared. And now, finally, so are you. Hear me speak this over you with undeniable clarity. The version of you that stands here now is not the version that once doubted, feared, or broke under the weight of pressure, because your faith has matured, and your spirit has been refined through every fire, every storm, every tear, and every long night you thought would never end. You have walked through seasons that felt harsh, seasons that tested you beyond what you believed you could bear, seasons where your faith was stretched to the point of snapping. Yet here you are, not shattered, but strengthened. You thought the process was only pain, but I was using every moment to deepen your capacity to believe, to anchor you in truth, to steady you for the blessings that require a matured faith. I did not allow those seasons to break you. I allowed them to burn away what could not go with you into the next chapter. You prayed for greater things, and greater things require a refined vessel. You do not see how far you've come because you have lived every moment of the journey. You've walked through the refining quietly, often unnoticed by others, but I saw the transformation happening beneath the surface. I watched you learn to trust me when the answer didn't come. I watched you choose hope when fear screamed louder. I watched you continue praying even when nothing seemed to change. You learned to lean on me not because everything was easy, but because everything felt uncertain. Faith that is never challenged never grows. Faith that is never stretched never strengthened. Faith that is never refined never matures. And now, after all you have endured, what stands within you is faith that is no longer based on emotion, circumstance, or convenience. It is anchored in truth, strengthened by experience, and forged in fire. Your spirit has been refined. You don't crumble the way you used it to. You don't panic the way you once did. You don't fall apart when things shift unexpectedly. You've learned to breathe through the uncertainty because you've seen me move for you before. You've learned to wait without fear because you now understand that delay is not abandonment. You've learned to walk with confidence because you finally know who walks beside you. You've learned to discern my voice above the noise of doubt. You've learned to recognize my hand even in small things. This refinement is not accidental, it is intentional. And now, with your faith matured and your spirit strengthened, you are prepared to receive, hold, and sustain what I am releasing into your life. Your faith used to be shaken by storms, but now your faith calms storms. The refinement was necessary, and it is now complete. Let this truth wash over your weary heart, not one of your prayers, not the loud ones, not the whispered ones, not the broken ones, not even the ones you resigned yourself to believe were too small or too desperate, has gone unheard or unnoticed by me. You have praying through tears, prayed through fear, praying through disappointment, praying through sun. You have prayed when you didn't know what else to do. You have prayed when you felt unworthy. You have prayed when you were exhausted and unsure if your words even mattered. But every word, every sigh, every groan of your spirit has reached heaven with precision and power. You must understand, your prayers were never background noise in my presence. They were invitations for me to work on your behalf. There were nights you prayed for strength because you felt like you wouldn't make it through the next day. I heard those prayers and held you together when everything in you wanted to collapse. You prayed for guidance when confusion clouded your mind. I answered by closing doors that would have harmed you and nudging you toward paths you didn't even realize were me leading you. You prayed for peace when your heart was troubled, and though you didn't feel it instantly, I calmed storms around you you never even saw forming. You prayed for healing, and while the wounds didn't close overnight, they began to mend in ways that now allow you to breathe again. There are prayers you forgot you prayed, prayers whispered in dark moments, prayers spoken with trembling hope, prayers you didn't realize were shaping your future. I did not forget them. I didn't discard them. I didn't postpone them because you were undeserving. I stored them. I nurtured them. I perfected their timing. Your prayers have been accumulating like seeds planted in the soil of heaven, waiting for the right season to burst into breakthrough. You thought silence meant rejection, but silence often means preparation. You thought waiting meant denial, but waiting often means alignment. I have been working while you were praying, and even while you stopped praying. I never ignored a single request. I never turned my face away from you. And as this season unfolds, you will see answers to prayers you thought were forgotten. Some will come quietly. Some will come suddenly. Some will come in ways that leave you breathless. But they will come because I have honored every word you lifted to me. Understand the stirring within you, because it is not random. The urgency you've been feeling, the inner restlessness, the sense that something is about to break open. This is the sound of heaven announcing a divine shift over your life. You have felt it rising within you, even when you didn't have words for it. You've noticed your spirit becoming more alert, your sensitivity increasing, your peace deepening in unexpected ways. It's as though something invisible is moving toward you, and you are not imagining it. You are sensing the spiritual atmosphere rearranging itself around your life. You are feeling the rumbling of change before it manifests. This urgency is not anxiety, it is prophetic readiness. When heaven prepares to shift a person into a new season, the spirit feels it before the mind understands it. That's why your desires have been changing. That's why your old habits no longer satisfy you. That's why certain relationships feel different. That's why doors you once wanted now feel irrelevant. That's why your hunger for clarity has increased. That's why your tolerance for mediocrity has evaporated. Your spirit is adjusting to the next level before your circumstances catch up. Your inner world is transitioning ahead of your outer world. You have been sensing a holy discontent, not frustration, but a divine stirring that says, I'm meant for more. Something is coming. Something is shifting. Something is waking up inside me. That is heaven's announcement. That is the Spirit preparing you for movement. That is alignment activating within you. I am touching your awareness so that when the door opens, you won't hesitate. When the opportunity arrives, you will recognize it. When the change unfolds, you will not fear it. When the miracle appears, you will be ready to receive it. This urgency is confirmation, not confusion. It is activation, not agitation. It is evidence that the season you are walking into is not ordinary. It is divinely appointed. And because I am moving things in the spiritual realm, your spirit senses the momentum before the manifestation. You are not imagining the shift. You are entering it. Hear this with holy reverence. Your name has been spoken in the courts of heaven, not in passing, not as an afterthought, but with authority, intention, and divine purpose. And because of that, angels have been assigned to move on your behalf. You have felt alone in your battles, unaware that there has been heavenly activity surrounding your life in ways far beyond what you can perceive. You've walked into situations thinking you were carrying the weight by yourself, when in reality, spiritual forces were already clearing paths, dismantling obstacles, and preparing breakthroughs before you even arrived. Your prayers, your endurance, your obedience, your faithfulness, even in small things, have triggered movements in realms you cannot see, and heaven has responded with precise orchestration. There are angels assigned to your protection, guarding you from dangers you never realized were forming around you. There are angels assigned to your guidance, nudging you away from decisions that would have harmed you and toward divine opportunities you didn't know you were ready for. There are angels assigned to your breakthrough, fighting battles you don't have language for, standing against darkness that hoped to hinder you, lifting what you were never meant to carry alone. You think you've been walking unassisted, but you've been carried more often than you know. When heaven calls your name, it is a declaration that the time for movement has arrived. It means something has shifted in the spiritual realm. Something hath been released. Something has been approved. Something hath been settled. There are things being rearranged for your benefit right now. Conversations shifting, hearts softening, opportunities aligning, resources being prepared. And while you feel the stirring in your spirit, angels are already in motion, executing what heaven has established. You are not forgotten. You are not unnoticed. You are not unprotected. You are divinely backed. And the shift you've been sensing is heaven's response to the call on your name. Feel the weight of this. I am clearing obstacles from your path that you didn't even know were standing in your way. Barriers so subtle, so deeply embedded, so spiritually rooted that only my hand could remove them. You have faced visible challenges, yes, but some of the greatest hindrances to your breakthrough were hidden. Hidden in people, hidden in circumstances, hidden in mindsets, hidden in spiritual resistance that worked quietly behind the scenes. You thought your delays were caused by lack of effort, lack of clarity, or even lack of worth. But in reality, the obstacles weren't in your strength or your steps. They were in places only I could reach. There were people attached to your journey who would have hindered your progress, held you back out of fear, envy, confusion, or control. And so I removed them, not to punish you, but to protect what I am releasing in your life. There were opportunities that looked good but would have drained you, consumed you, or derailed you, and so I closed those doors before they could distract your destiny. There were spiritual blockages, old wounds, generational patterns, mental strongholds that needed to break before your future could open, and I have been dismantling them piece by piece. You didn't know why some things fell apart. You didn't understand why certain plans collapsed. You didn't comprehend why doors didn't open. But now hear me. It was never rejection. It was removal. Removal of the things that were quietly suffocating your progress. Removal of the things that looked harmless but were spiritually dangerous. Removal of the things that would have cost you more than you realized. As I remove these obstacles, you will feel lighter. You will find clarity where confusion once lived. You will feel peace where pressure once suffocated you. You will move forward with ease where you once struggled. What was once complicated will become simple. This is not coincidence. This is divine clearance. I'm making room for what is meant for you, room for the blessing that is approaching, room for the miracle that requires open space and a ready heart. Listen with wonder, because this is the gentlest truth I am revealing today. I am releasing answers to prayers you forgot you prayed, prayers whispered in exhaustion, spoken in tears, offered in desperation, or released in moments so vulnerable that you barely remember them. You prayed from places of deep longing, deep fear, deep hope, and in the busyness of life, you moved on, not realizing that those prayers were planted like seeds in the soil of eternity. You forgot them, but I never did. You moved on, but heaven didn't. What you released in weakness, I preserved in strength. There were prayers you whispered years ago for healing, for restoration, for clarity, for identity, for provision, for peace, for direction. You assumed they faded away when seasons changed, but they did not. They were stored, nurtured, cultivated, and aligned with divine timing. Some prayers were delayed not because they were denied, but because the answer required alignment you didn't have at the time. Some answers needed people you hadn't met yet. Some required growth you hadn't reached yet. Some needed circumstances that had not matured yet. But now, the alignment is forming. There are answers approaching your life that will feel like sudden blessings, sudden breakthroughs, sudden clarity, but they are not sudden at all. They are the fulfillment of prayers you released when you felt fragile and uncertain. You will soon look around and realize that things are changing without you striving, shifting without you pushing, healing without you forcing. And you will say, Lord, I didn't even pray for this lately. And I will whisper, no, but you prayed for it once, and I never forgot. Your forgotten prayers are becoming remembered blessings. Your quiet petitions are becoming loud testimonies. Your whispered requests are becoming visible manifestations. Nothing you prayed was wasted. Nothing you asked was ignored. Nothing you hoped for was dismissed. And now, the harvest of forgotten prayers is coming into your present, not because you were perfect in asking, but because I was faithful in answering. Hear me with awakened expectation. You are standing on the edge of a season where long-buried seeds you planted in faith, in tears, in sacrifice, and obedience, are finally breaking the surface, and you are about to witness the fruit of things you thought had disappeared into the soil of time. You assumed certain prayers were forgotten. You believed certain acts of kindness went unnoticed. You thought your faithfulness in hidden places had no lasting impact. But every seed you planted, even the ones you barely remember, even the ones you planted in seasons of hardship, even the ones sown in moments of quiet surrender, have been germinating beneath the surface, growing roots deeper than you imagined. Nothing planted in love, faith, obedience, or sacrifice is ever wasted in my realm. Nothing disappears. Nothing goes unseen. You planted with hope, and I have been cultivating the unseen. You planted with trembling hands, and I have been strengthening what you sowed. You planted when you were tired, and I have been preparing a harvest that exceeds what you could have imagined at the time. There were seasons you felt discouraged because you didn't see immediate results. Seasons when you asked, what was the point? Did any of it matter? And heaven whispered back, wait. You didn't know that the seeds were taking root, forming foundations for breakthroughs that required time to mature. Some seeds carry quick results, others carry generational impact. Some bring immediate reward, others produce fruit so significant they cannot be rushed. What felt like silence was growth. What felt like inactivity was cultivation. What felt like hiddenness was preparation. And now, as you step into this unfolding season, those seeds are rising, not as fragile sprouts, but as strong, undeniable fruit. You gave when you had little, and I multiplied it. You forgave when it hurt, and I strengthened you. You stayed faithful when you were unseen, and I honored you. You chose integrity when shortcuts were available, and I protected your path. You spoke words of life when negativity surrounded you, and I marked that harvest for blessing. You prayed for people who hurt you, and I carved compassion into your spirit. You kept believing in promises when the evidence said otherwise, and I counted that faith as righteousness. Now, the fruit is coming, not as random blessings, but as the harvest of every seed you sowed with purity of heart. This is your season of reaping, and it will come not from striving but from divine timing. What you planted in faith, you will harvest in joy. And as the fruit begins to manifest, you will finally understand, nothing you did in love, in faith, in trust, or in obedience was ever forgotten. It was simply waiting for its appointed time, and the time is now approaching your life. Listen to me with renewed discernment. Every whisper that told you nothing would change, every thought that said your life would always look the same, every lie that insisted your prayers were pointless or your efforts were wasted, all of it came from the enemy, and all of it was a lie, as it has always been. You have battled internal voices that sounded like truth but carried the weight of discouragement. You faced spiritual resistance that targeted your mind, because your mind is where faith either grows or withers. The enemy knew he couldn't steal the promises I placed over your life, so he tried to steal your belief in them. He tried to manipulate your seasons of waiting, twisting them into narratives of hopelessness. He tried to take advantage of your fatigue, hoping you'd stop praying. He tried to use delays to make you doubt my character. He tried to use silence to make you question my presence. But everything he whispered was deception, because he knows that if you keep believing, nothing can stop what I am unfolding for you. You have been in battles where the greatest warfare was not external but internal, the quiet, unseen wrestling in your thoughts, your emotions, your expectations. You wondered why discouragement hit so hard, why hopelessness knocked on your door, why fear tried to make a home in your spirit. But hear me. The intensity of the attack revealed the magnitude of what was coming. The enemy isn't threatened by your present. He is terrified of your future. He fought you hardest in the moments right before I shift your life because he knows once you step into what I've prepared, his influence over you loses power. You may have believed his lies at times. You may have felt like giving up. You may have believed the narrative that nothing would ever change. But here you are, still standing, still reading, still reaching, still expecting, and that alone is proof that his lies failed. You have more resilience than you realized. You have more spiritual strength than you thought. You have more divine backing than the enemy ever wanted you to know. And now, the truth is breaking through the fog of every lie spoken against your purpose. Things are changing. The atmosphere has shifted. The enemy fought hard because he saw what you could not see, that your breakthrough was approaching. And now, his influence over your expectations is being dismantled. The lies are losing their grip. Truth is rising in your spirit. And everything the enemy tried to convince you of is about to be overturned by the reality I am bringing into your life. Let me reveal what was hidden beneath the intensity of your recent battles. Things became harder, heavier, more chaotic, more spiritually demanding, not because you were failing, but because your miracle was drawing near, and the enemy always fights hardest when heaven is closest to releasing breakthrough. You didn't imagine the increase in pressure. You didn't overreact to the sudden emotional weight. You didn't misinterpret the exhaustion, the confusion, the unexpected disruptions, the sudden fears, or the rising anxieties. These were signs, not of defeat, but of proximity. Proximity to breakthrough. Proximity to answered prayers. Proximity to divine movement. Proximity to the shift I ordained long before the battle intensified. When a door of blessing is about to open, the adversary attempts to distract you, discourage you, and drain you so you will stop short of stepping into the very thing he knows is coming. He tries to make you question everything: your worth, your identity, your progress, your hope, your prayers, even your connection to me. He tries to stir conflict, revive old wounds, resurrect old fears, and amplify inner battles because he senses the release approaching. The battle is never fiercest in the beginning. It is fiercest right before the breakthrough breaks through. You wondered why now? Why this? Why does it suddenly feel harder? And now you know, because you were reaching the threshold. Because the ground was shifting beneath your feet. Because the blessing was ripening. Because what you had been praying for was coming closer. The enemy cannot stop what I ordain, but he tried to stop you, to exhaust your faith, to drain your strength, to dim your hope so you wouldn't recognize the miracle when it arrived. But here you are, still standing, still seeking, still pressing forward. That alone is evidence that you have already won victories you didn't even realize you were fighting. And now the battle is losing its strength because the miracle is gaining momentum. You are stepping out of warfare and into fulfillment. You are transitioning from attack to advancement. You are crossing from struggle to manifestation. The battle intensified because your miracle drew near. And now, child, the miracle is even nearer than the battle ever was. Hear me with piercing clarity. The increase in warfare you experienced was not random, not imagined, not exaggerated. It intensified because the enemy sensed the magnitude of what was being prepared for you, long before you saw even a hint of it. You wondered why the attacks felt so personal, why the discouragement felt heavier, why the emotional pressure felt sharper, why your insecurities suddenly screamed louder than they had in years. You questioned whether something was wrong with you, whether you were slipping backward, whether your faith was losing its strength. But it wasn't weakness, it was impact. Your spirit was pushing into a territory the enemy hoped you would never reach. And the closer you got, the louder his resistance grew, because he recognized the spiritual shift long before you did. There are battles you fought recently that made no logical sense. They came out of nowhere. Small things triggered big emotions. Old fears resurfaced unexpectedly. Relationships strained without clear reason. You felt waves of heaviness that were difficult to explain. These were not coincidences. They were targeted attempts to derail you, distract you, and distort your vision. The enemy couldn't stop what heaven had already set in motion, but he hoped to confuse you enough to make you step away from the path on your own. He hoped to exhaust your spirit, weaken your hope, and slow your forward movement. He hoped you would misinterpret the spiritual turbulence as abandonment rather than advancement. But here is the truth. The warfare increased because heaven's activity increased. The shaking intensified because my hand was moving. The enemy sensed the spiritual momentum building around you. He sensed angels aligning. He sensed doors preparing to open. He sensed blessings uprooting barriers. He sensed your spirit gaining strength, your faith growing louder, your calling becoming clearer. He sensed breakthrough approaching your life, and in desperation, he tried to strike where you felt vulnerable. But even in those moments, you did not break. You did not fold. You did not turn back. You may have cried, but you stayed. You may have doubted, but you didn't disconnect. You may have stumbled, but you didn't surrender. And now the warfare is losing its grip because the breakthrough it tried to stop is already on its way. You will soon see that the intensity of the attack was the clearest indication that something powerful was coming. Something the enemy feared and something heaven ordained. What was meant to weaken you has only confirmed that you are closer to your blessing than you ever realized. Let this truth sink deeply into your spirit. Every attack sent against you, every emotional hit, every betrayal, every setback, every mental battle, every spiritual assault, was not a sign of your weakness, but a sign of your calling, your purpose, and your divine selection. You were not attacked because you were insignificant. You were attacked because you carry something powerful. You were attacked because you carry influence in the spirit realm. You were attacked because your destiny poses a threat to darkness. The enemy does not fight what he does not fear. And the intensity of the warfare surrounding your life has been a direct reflection of the greatness placed within you. You have endured things others never saw. You faced invisible battles while still showing up for the world. You carried wounds while continuing to love. You walked through valleys while still trying to encourage others. You went through seasons that would have crushed someone else, but they did not crush you. You bent, but you did not break. You stumbled, but you did not fall away. You cried, but you did not quit. And through every moment of heaviness, I was strengthening you, shaping you, refining you, and revealing just how chosen you truly are. The attacks were not signs that I abandoned you. They were signs that the enemy recognized your potential. He saw the anointing on your life before you did. He saw the harvest that was coming before you sensed it. He saw the shift that was approaching long before you understood it. And he thought that if he attacked you early enough, frequently enough, or deeply enough, he could convince you to walk away from what I prepared. But what he intended for destruction became confirmation instead. Confirmation of your identity, confirmation of your importance, confirmation of your destiny. You survived things that were designed to break you, and that survival is proof of your calling. You outlived storms that should have drowned you, and that endurance is proof that you are carried by grace. You overcame lies meant to twist your perception, and that resilience is proof that your spirit cannot be manipulated by darkness. Every attack you endured is now standing as evidence that you are chosen for more impact, more blessing, more purpose, more authority, more breakthrough. You are not destroyed because you are destined. You are not defeated because you are marked. And everything meant to stop you only highlighted what heaven already knew. You are chosen, protected, strengthened, and prepared for greater things. Hear this with gentle truth. The moments when you whispered, "I can't do this anymore." The moments when your strength collapsed under the weight of unspoken burdens. The moments when you felt yourself sinking emotionally or spiritually. Those were the very moments I was sustaining you, holding you up in ways you didn't fully recognize. You thought you survived those seasons by your own resilience, but you didn't. You survived because I carried you. You moved forward because I breathed strength into you. You kept going because my hand held you when your hands felt too weak to hold anything. There were nights you cried yourself to sleep, feeling empty, overwhelmed, and unseen. but I was there, covering you in a peace you didn't understand. There were mornings when getting out of bed felt like a battle, but something inside you kept pushing. That something was me. There were days when despair tried to swallow you whole, but a gentle whisper inside your soul reminded you to keep believing. That whisper was me. You didn't endure because you were strong. You endured because I refused to let you fall. You survived heartbreak that could have hardened your heart, but I protected the softness within you. You survived disappointment that could have crippled your hope, but I preserved your ability to dream. You survived loneliness that could have led you astray, but I guarded your spirit from settling for less than you deserved. You survived spiritual droughts that could have dried your faith, but I kept a small flame burning inside you, a flame the enemy tried again and again to extinguish, but could not. The moments when you felt most abandoned were the moments when I was closest. Not because I needed to prove something to you, but because your spirit needed reinforcement that only I could give. You thought you were holding yourself together, but in reality, you were being held by a strength far greater than your own. That is why you're still here. That is why you didn't break. That is why you didn't lose yourself. That is why you didn't stay stuck. And now, as you move forward, I want you to understand, the reason you are crossing into breakthrough is not because you never grew tired. It's because I sustained you in every moment your strength was not enough. I kept you alive. I kept you grounded. I kept you breathing hope. And I will continue to sustain you, not just in survival, but into the abundance that is now approaching your life. Hear this truth with the full weight of love behind it. There were seasons in your life where you didn't just feel tired. You felt unworthy to even continue, undeserving of hope, incapable of rising again. And yet you survived because I carried you when you could no longer carry yourself. You walked through moments that drained you so deeply that you questioned your own value. You endured seasons where shame whispered lies about who you were. You navigated valleys where you felt like a burden, where you doubted whether your presence mattered, where you questioned the meaning of your existence. And still, in those darkest moments, I held you close, not because you were strong, but because my love for you has never depended on your perceived worthiness. There were times when you judged yourself harshly, believing you had failed too many times, fallen too deeply, or disappointed too many people. You wondered if your mistakes disqualified you from goodness. You replayed decisions in your mind, punishing yourself long after I had already forgiven you. You looked at your flaws and assumed they overshadowed your value. But child, your worth was never measured by human perfection. It was anchored in my unconditional love. I did not rescue you because you earned it. I rescued you because you belonged to me. In moments when you felt unlovable, I wrapped you in a grace that didn't demand your perfection. In moments when you felt unclean, I covered you in mercy that washed what guilt tried to stain. In moments when you felt your heart wasn't worthy of healing, I breathed compassion into your wounds. In moments when you believed others deserved hope more than you, I kept whispering truth into your spirit. You are mine. You matter. You are worth saving. You are worth holding. You are worth restoring. Even when you tried to give up, my hands refused to release you. Even when you detached from everyone around you, my presence stayed. Even when your spirit grew numb from pain, my love remained alive inside you, sustaining you quietly, gently, faithfully. You didn't know it then, but I was lifting your head when you couldn't lift it yourself. I was restoring your breath when anxiety tried to steal it. I was steadying your steps when grief tried to immobilize you. I was shielding you from darkness when you were too weary to pray. You survived seasons you thought would swallow you whole, not because you were strong enough, but because my love refused to let you fall. And now, as you move forward, understand this deeply. The fact that you are alive, breathing, growing, rising again is proof that your worth has never been in question. You are here because I carried you with purpose, and I am still carrying you toward a future that reflects my love, not your past fears. Hear me now with relief that penetrates your deepest burden. I am lifting the weight, the emotional weight, the mental weight, the spiritual weight that has rested on your shoulders for far too long, the weight you tried to hide, endure, and manage on your own when it was never meant for you to carry. You have been walking through life carrying pressures that were never assigned to you. You've held responsibilities beyond your capacity, taken on the emotional load of people who never supported you, and tried to maintain stability while feeling unstable inside. You've carried expectations, regrets, guilt, fears, and memories that have exhausted you more than you've admitted. And even when you felt crushed under the heaviness, you told yourself, I just have to push through. But child, pushing through was not the path. Surrender was. And now, I am removing what has been weighing you down. You have carried burdens that stemmed from old wounds, wounds that whispered, you must hold everything together or everything will fall apart. You carried the pressure to be strong because life taught you that weakness was not allowed. You carry the weight of past mistakes because you struggled to forgive yourself. You carried the weight of other people's opinions because you feared disappointing them. You carried the weight of unresolved emotions because you never had a safe place to release them. But now, I am stepping into the heaviness and lifting what your soul can no longer bear. There is a supernatural release coming over your life, not a momentary relief, but a permanent lifting. You will notice it in your mind first, as clarity replaces confusion. You will notice it in your heart, as peace settles where anxiety once lived. You will notice it in your body, as the tension you've carried silently begins to dissolve. You will feel lighter, freer, steadier, not because you changed anything in your own strength, but because I am removing the things that were never meant to rest on you. You are not meant to carry the weight of your past. You are not meant to hold the pain of everyone around you. You are not meant to carry the fear of future outcomes. You are not meant to hold the emotional storms alone. I am lifting the heavy. I am carrying the impossible. I am relieving the burdens that drained you. And as I lift what has overwhelmed you, you will rediscover yourself. The real you, the free you, the unburdened you. This lifting is the beginning of your breakthrough. This lifting is preparation for the blessing that requires your shoulders freed. The weight is coming off because the season is shifting, and you are stepping into a chapter where heaviness no longer follows you. Let this truth bring hope back into the places you close off. I am healing the parts of you that you quietly accepted would remain broken forever. The wounds that felt too old, the disappointments that felt too deep, the fears that felt too familiar. You have lived with fractures in your heart that became part of your identity. You convinced yourself that certain pain was permanent, that certain memories would always sting, that certain emotional bruises would never fade. You learned to function while broken, to smile while hurting, to carry on while wounded. You became so used to surviving pain that you stopped imagining healing. But hear me now. The healing you thought was impossible is unfolding even now, in layers, deeper than you can see. There are wounds in you that never had closure, and I am closing them gently. There are memories that replayed like echoes, and I am quieting them with peace. There are parts of you that fell frozen in old seasons, and I am thawing them with warmth and restoration. There are emotions you buried because you didn't know how to face them, and I am bringing them to the surface not to hurt you, but to heal you. You won't simply cope anymore, you will recover. You won't just move forward, you will be made whole. You thought some damage was irreversible, but I specialize in what seems irreparable. You thought healing would require you to relive the pain, but I heal with gentleness, not trauma. You thought time would eventually numb the wounds, but I am restoring them completely, not covering them with distraction. This healing is not superficial. It is not temporary. It is not partial. It is deep, thorough, intentional, and permanent. It reaches into the parts of you that you shielded from everyone else. You will feel pieces of yourself returning, joy you thought was gone, hope you thought had died, confidence you thought was lost, tenderness you thought had hardened. You will begin to feel lighter in areas where you once felt depleted. You will sense emotional freedom in places where chains once lived. You will look at situations that once triggered brokenness and feel peace instead. I am healing your identity, your memories, your heart, your mind, your self-worth, your emotions. I am healing the cracks created by years of disappointment, betrayal, fear, and sorrow. I am healing the brokenness that shaped how you saw yourself. And when I am finished, you will not look patched together. You will look renewed. You thought you would always carry the broken pieces, but I am making you whole, beautifully, completely, undeniably whole. Listen to me with a hope that rises from the deepest part of your spirit. I am restoring things in your life that you thought were gone beyond recovery. The opportunities you believed had expired. The relationships you assumed were beyond mending. The dreams you buried because you could no longer bear the pain of hoping for them. You have carried loss like a shadow, sometimes heavy, sometimes quiet, but always near. There were moments when you looked back over the years and felt a sting, a silent grief, a quiet resignation that certain things would never return to you. You convinced yourself that too much time had passed, too much damage had been done, too many doors had closed. You settled into the idea that some chapters were permanently ruined. But child, you have forgotten who I am. I am the restorer, the redeemer, the one who takes what seems lost and resurrects it with a beauty you never imagined. There are things in your life that look finished, dead, or destroyed. There were seasons where hope slipped from your fingers. There were dreams that felt like fragile pieces you swept into a corner and walked away from because the ache of disappointment was too much to carry. But hear me now, nothing that is mine is ever truly lost. Nothing that I ordained is ever truly gone. I have been working behind the scenes, gathering the fragments, reclaiming what was stolen, reviving what was dormant, and reawakening what you gave up on in sorrow. My restoration is not a return to what was, it is a transformation into something better, fuller, stronger, more aligned with who you have become. You will see relationships restored in ways that honor your healed heart. You will see opportunity revived in ways that fit your maturity and wisdom. You will see dreams return with clarity and direction instead of confusion and fear. The things that once caused you to cry in regret will become testimonies of redemption. The areas where you felt wronged will become places of abundance. The situations that once broke you will become platforms of glory. I am not giving you back what you lost in its original form. I am restoring it in a way that exceeds what was taken. I am returning joy in a purer form. I am returning purpose in a sharper dimension. I am restoring your identity with deeper security. You will not simply recover, you will rise. You will not simply regain, you will overflow. You will not simply be restored, you will be renewed with divine strength. Trust me with what you assumed was gone forever. The story is not over. I am writing restoration where you once wrote endings. Hear me as I breathe life into places you left untouched for years. I am renewing the dreams you buried, not because they were wrong, not because you were foolish to hope for them, but because fear, failure, and disappointment convinced you they were impossible. You once carried dreams with excitement. You once spoke boldly about what you felt called to do. You once imagined a future filled with purpose and impact. But then life hit you hard. Realities weighed you down. Setbacks dimmed your confidence. Delay disheartened you. Criticism and comparison made you shrink. Instead of nurturing those dreams, you placed them in a quiet corner of your heart, promising yourself you would revisit them one day, though deep inside you feared that day would never come. But I have not forgotten the dreams I planted within you. I placed them there with intention. They were never random. They were never childish fantasies. They were glimpses of who you truly are and what you were created to walk into. And now, in this unfolding season, I am touching those dormant places and awakening what has been asleep. You will begin to feel it, a stirring, a desire returning, a spark igniting where there was once numbness. Ideas will re-emerge. Creativity will flow again. Hope will rise without fear suffocating it. You will begin to dream again, boldly, freely, with renewed strength. You will not approach these dreams with the fragility you once did. You will approach them with the stability forged through pain, the wisdom shaped through experience, the confidence grown through perseverance. You are no longer who you were when you first dreamed these things. You are stronger, wiser, deeper, more spiritually grounded. And because of that, you are now ready to carry what once overwhelmed you. I am renewing the dreams you buried, not in their old form, but in a form that fits the healed, mature, refined version of you. You will not chase them anxiously this time. You will walk into them with grace. You will not cling to them in fear. You will nurture them with clarity. The disappointment that once suffocated those dreams will no longer hold power over you. What once felt like a risk will now feel like destiny. These dreams were never dead. They were waiting. And now, as I awaken them, you will discover that the dreams you thought were lost were the very dreams that will lead you into your greatest purpose. Listen closely, because this is the prophetic shift unfolding even now. You are entering a chapter of your life where the pages will turn quickly, where long seasons of stagnation will suddenly be replaced by rapid movement, sudden alignment, and accelerated breakthroughs. For years, you walked through slow chapters where nothing changed, chapters where progress felt invisible, chapters where you questioned whether your story had stalled. You prayed, you waited, you believed, but the pace of your life felt painfully slow. It seemed like everything took longer for you. It seemed like you were always starting over. It seemed like you were always waiting for timing that never arrived. But now, the slowness is ending. The pace is shifting. The momentum is building. There comes a moment in every divine story when the narrative quickens, not by human effort, not by coincidence, but by the orchestration of heaven. What took years begins to happen in months. What took months begins to happen in weeks. What once felt impossible begins unfolding effortlessly. The delays that once frustrated you will be overtaken by acceleration that surprises you. Doors will open quickly. Answers will come quickly. Opportunities will appear suddenly. Hearts will shift unexpectedly. What was once complicated will become simple. What was once blood will become clear. This quickening is not random. It is the result of everything I have been building within you. You are ready now in ways you weren't before. You are aligned now in ways you weren't before. You are spiritually positioned now in ways you couldn't have been without the slow seasons. So growth produces deep roots. Deep roots sustain rapid growth. You endured the slow so you could carry the fast. Do not fear the pace of this next chapter. It will not overwhelm you. It will uplift you. You will feel grace guiding each step, clarity accompanying each decision, and peace covering each change. You will not rush, you will flow. You will not panic, you will rise. The speed of this season is not meant to stress you but to demonstrate how my timing operates when everything is aligned. You are stepping into a chapter where the pages will turn quickly, where the story will advance powerfully, and where your destiny will unfold before your eyes with divine acceleration. Listen to me with the fullness of expectation rising in your spirit. Acceleration is coming upon your life, not by chance, not by luck, but because you endured the slow season with a faithfulness that heaven has honored. You walked through long stretches of waiting that tested you more deeply than anyone around you realized. You moved through days where progress felt invisible and nights where you wondered if anything at all was shifting. You lived through seasons where you prayed without answers, obeyed without clarity, and believed without evidence. You kept walking when everything in you wanted to sit down. You kept trusting when disappointment whispered otherwise. And child, do not underestimate the power of that endurance, for it has created a spiritual momentum that is now breaking forth into acceleration. You endured the slow season without losing your soul. You endured the quiet season without losing your faith. You endured the stretching season without losing your identity. You endured what could have made you bitter, yet you grew better. You endured what could have made you hardened, yet you grew softer in spirit. You endured what could have made you quit, yet you remained standing. What you called waiting was actually training, preparation for a pace your spirit is now strong enough to handle. Acceleration does not come to those who skip the process. It comes to those who stayed through the process. Those who remained faithful when the journey felt unfruitful. Those who held on to hope when hope seemed unreasonable. Those who allowed me to shape them, refine them, slow them down, reorient them. And now, because you did not rush ahead of me, because you allowed me to work deeply within you, because you trusted even when you did not understand, the season of slowness has completed its purpose. The soil beneath your life is ready. Your spirit is ready. Your path is ready. You will feel the shift soon, the pace of your life quickening, opportunities coming with less effort, clarity forming with less confusion, breakthroughs unfolding with less resistance. Things that once stalled will begin to flow. Things that once required heavy pushing will now move with ease. Not because the road chained you, but because you changed. Acceleration is your reward for endurance. And this next chapter will prove that the slow season was not a punishment. It was a preparation for the speed of blessing now coming toward you. Hear me with renewed peace. The next doors in your life will not require you to push, force, beg, or strive. They will open because I am opening them. And when I open a door, no one and nothing can shut it. You have spent years trying to make things happen in your own strength. You pushed on doors that refused to budge. You tried to create opportunities through sheer effort. You overextended yourself hoping something would shift. You felt exhausted from trying to carry outcomes that were never meant to be built by human effort alone. But child, that season is ending. This next chapter will not be about force, it will be about flow. Not about pushing, but about receiving. Not about striding, but about alignment. When I open a door, it requires no self-promotion, no manipulation, no hustling to be seen. My openings come with peace, not pressure, with clarity, not confusion, with grace, not strain. The doors I open do not wobble. They do not resist. They do not require you to prove yourself worthy. They stand open because heaven has declared that it is your time. They open because you are prepared to walk through them. They open because what is behind them is aligned with your purpose, your growth, your identity, your destiny. You have learned through experience that forced doors never bring fulfillment. Forced opportunities crumble under pressure. Forced relationships strain your spirit. Forced seasons drain your peace. But the doors I open will feel different. They will swing wide with ease. They will bring confirmation, not confusion. It will come with a sense of this fits me, not I must fight to keep this together. You won't have to compromise yourself to enter. You won't have to shrink to belong. You won't have to pretend to feel at peace. There will be signs, divine nudges, unexpected favor, sudden invitations, opportunities that align so perfectly you will know they didn't come through your striving but through my orchestration. You will walk into rooms you once thought unreachable. You will enter spaces that once felt locked. You will step into blessings that once seemed distant. And you will do so with a gentle calm in your spirit because the door wasn't opened by force. It was opened by me. The days of pushing are behind you. The days of open doors are ahead. Hear this with humble confidence. In this next season, I will cause people to favor you, not because you persuaded them, not because you performed for them, not because you proved yourself, but because I will touch their hearts toward you. For far too long, you have felt the weight of trying to be understood, accepted, appreciated, or validated by people who were never meant to see you clearly. You tried to win approval from those who were committed to misunderstanding you. You attempted to prove your worth to those who couldn't recognize your value. You exhausted yourself trying to fit into spaces that were not aligned with your calling. But child, that season is over. I am bringing new people, new connections, new alignments. People who will recognize your heart without explanation. People who will see your value without you having to showcase it. People whose spirits will be drawn to you because I have prepared them to walk with you. This favor is not manipulation. It is divine orchestration. It is me softening their spirits, opening their eyes, lining their hearts with yours. You will no longer have to fight to belong. You will no longer feel the heaviness of trying to prove you are enough. You will no longer feel the sting of rejection defining your worth. Instead, you will experience a supernatural ease in your relationships. Conversations will flow effortlessly. Connections will form authentically. Support will arise unexpectedly. Influence will grow naturally. People will open doors for you without knowing why. People will speak well of you in rooms you've never entered. People will advocate for you without being asked. This favor is not random. It is strategic. It will position you for opportunities, strengthen you in your purpose, and provide relationships filled with mutual honor, mutual trust, mutual growth. You will be surrounded by those who celebrate you, not tolerate you, those who amplify you, not diminish you, those who understand your sensitivity, your calling, your heart. You don't have to convince anyone of who you are in this next season. I will reveal you to the right people. I will hide you from the wrong ones. And the favor that comes will be undeniably divine, because it will not be something you earned, but something I released. Hear this with a renewed confidence that settles into your soul. The opportunities coming in your next season will not require you to chase, force, or desperately search for them. They will find you, because I am sending them directly to your path. For so long, you felt like you had to hustle your way into every open door, as though your destiny depended entirely on your effort, your visibility, your network, your striving. You have exhausted yourself trying to be everywhere, do everything, prove yourself worthy, and stay ahead. You feared being overlooked. You feared missing your moment. You feared that if you didn't push hard enough, life would pass you by. But child, hear me now. What is meant for you cannot miss you. And in this next chapter, you will not be the one doing the chasing. The opportunities will chase you. There are doors opening behind the scenes right now that have your name attached to them. There are people discussing your gifts in rooms you've never walked into. There are blessings moving in your direction that you didn't apply for, ask for, or strategize to receive. Why? because I have aligned these opportunities with your calling, your character, your preparation, and your purpose. These opportunities are not random. They are the result of everything you have endured, everything you have learned, everything you have surrendered, everything you have grown through. You need to understand that when I decide to elevate you, nothing in the natural realm can interfere. I do not need human approval to promote you. I do not need majority agreement to bless you. I do not need perfect conditions to release favor over you. I move according to purpose, not popularity. According to destiny, not deadlines. According to design, not human timelines. And when opportunity is part of my design for you, it will locate you with precision. You will be in the right place at the right time without forcing it. You will meet the right people without chasing connections. You will hear the right information without scrambling. You will walk through the right doors without pushing them. This is not passivity, it is alignment. You have done your part. You have prepared your spirit, your character, your mindset, your heart. Now let me do my part. You will know these opportunities are mine because they will come with peace, purpose, and clarity, not anxiety, confusion, or pressure. They will lift you, not drain you. They will stretch you, not break you. They will bless you, not burden you. Your role is to stay aligned, stay open, stay ready, because the opportunities you thought you had to chase are now coming to chase you. Hear me with absolute certainty. The blessing that is approaching your life is not accidental, coincidental, or generic. It is assigned specifically to you, crafted for your journey, your purpose, your identity, your destiny. You need to understand this because for too long you believed you were receiving leftover miracles or unintentional blessings. You compared your breakthrough to others and assumed theirs were more deliberate, more meaningful, more divinely orchestrated. But child, when I prepare a blessing for you, I do not recycle it. I do not repurpose someone else's. I create it with your story in mind, your growth in mind, your healing in mind, your anointing in mind. This blessing hath been reserved for you, protected, timed, and shaped for the exact version of you standing here now. There were seasons when you felt like you were overlooked, like blessings passed you by, like good things were happening for everyone except you. But that's because what I had for you required more preparation, more pruning, more refining, more alignment. You weren't being denied, you were being prepared for an assignment-level blessing. Something too significant to be rushed, too weighty to be mishandled, too sacred to be given prematurely. You must know this: the blessing approaching your life carries divine strategy. It connects to other areas of your calling. It carries restoration for wounds you've endured. It carries opportunities that will expand your reach. It carries joy that will replace old sorrow. It carries provision that will stabilize areas that have been shaky. It carries healing for places you thought were permanently broken. This blessing is not a random miracle. It is a strategic release. It is the fulfillment of promises, the answer to forgotten prayers, the harvest from long-planted seeds. And because it is assigned to you, nothing can intercept it. No person can block it. No enemy can steal it. No delay can cancel it. No doubt can undo it. The blessing carries your name, your timing, your alignment, and it will arrive exactly when it is meant to. You do not have to fight for this one. You do not have to fear losing it. You do not have to perform for it. What is assigned cannot be taken. You will see soon enough that this is not a blessing that stumbled into your life. It is a blessing that was divinely directed to you. And when it arrives, you will feel it in your spirit. This was made for me. Let this truth rest on you like a gentle but undeniable weight, the miracle you've been praying for, hoping for, longing for, fighting for. It does not just belong to you. It carries your name engraved on it in the language of heaven. It was written for you before you ever asked for it. It was prepared for you before you ever imagined it. It was aligned with you before you ever grew into the person capable of receiving it. You have prayed for things that felt impossible. You have waited for answers that seemed too distant. You have endured storms that made you question whether miracles were even meant for you. But child, hear me. Your miracle is not a general blessing. It is a personal appointment. A heavenly package that has been protected, preserved, and prepared with intention. There were moments when you felt disqualified because of past mistakes. Moments when you felt too broken, too late, too weary to hope again. You told yourself other people were more deserving. You shrank your expectations to avoid disappointment. But none of that erased the engraving. None of that changed the assignment. None of that altered the promise. Your miracle did not depend on your perfection. It depended on my covenant. It did not depend on your flawless behavior. It depended on my unchanging love. And though the path has been long, though the delays have been painful, though the waiting has stretched you more than you thought you could endure, the miracle has never stopped moving toward you. It has passed through seasons of preparation, seasons of alignment, seasons of divine timing. And now the engraving is glowing like a seal, because the moment of release is drawing nearer. You must understand, because your name is on this miracle, no one else can receive it. No one else can intercept it. And no one else can steal it. And no one else can occupy what was designed for you. It will not be rerouted. It will not be reassigned. It will not be forgotten. Heaven had been holding it until you were prepared, healed, strengthened, and aligned enough to live inside the fullness of it. And when it arrives, not if, but when, you will feel it. You will know it. Your spirit will recognize it instantly because it will fit you in a way nothing else ever has. You will say, "This was mine. This was meant for me all along." Hear me with unshakable certainty. Nothing and no one, not a person, not a circumstance, not a delay, not an enemy, not even your own past, can take what I have reserved specifically for you. You have spent so much of your life fearing loss. You feared missing out. You feared being overlooked. You feared someone else stepping into what you prayed for. You feared that your mistakes disqualified you from blessings meant for you. You feared that time ruined what was supposed to be yours. You feared that your broken seasons canceled promises I made over your life. But I tell you now, with all the authority of the one who designed your path, what I have reserved for you is secured in heaven, protected in my timing, and preserved in my plan. No human hand can claim it. No disruption can erase it. No opposition can block it. For too long, you lived with the mentality that blessings were fragile, that you had to chase them, hold tightly to them, or fearfully guard them. But what is mine cannot be stolen, and what I assign cannot be tampered with. The enemy may try to delay you, discourage you, distract you, or deceive you, but he cannot take what carries my seal. He cannot touch what is marked with your name. He cannot occupy the place you were born to fill. He cannot sabotage the purpose I have placed within you. He cannot undo what I have written into your destiny. Every promise I made to you is anchored beyond human interference. Every blessing aligned for you was crafted beyond earthly tampering. Every opportunity ordained for you is secured beyond demonic influence. Even your own doubts cannot cancel my design. Even your own wounds cannot rewrite my intentions. Even your own detours cannot rewrite my destination for you. Yes, you have stumbled. Yes, you have doubted. Yes, you have taken the long route at times. But none of that has weakened my plan. What I reserve, I protect. What I promise, I perform. What I ordain, I fulfill. You need to understand the magnitude of this truth. Your destiny is not vulnerable. Your purpose is not fragile. Your blessings are not at risk. What I have preserved for you is fortified in ways your human mind cannot imagine. And soon, you will see with your own eyes that no one, absolutely no one, has taken what was meant for your life. It had been waiting for you untouched, unaltered, undiminished. And now you are drawing near to the moment where what has been preserved will finally be revealed. Listen closely, because this touches the deepest part of your journey. I am getting ready to confirm, openly, powerfully, undeniably, everything you dared to believe for in the dark, when no one else saw your faith, your tears, or your persistence. You believed when your circumstances mocked your hope. You believed when your emotions trembled. You believed when others doubted you. You believed when you didn't know how to keep believing. You whispered prayers no one else heard. You carried visions no one else witnessed. You clung to promises no one else understood. And for a long time, it felt as though your faith lived in secret, unseen, unvalidated, unrewarded. But child, faith that grows in the dark is the faith I honor most. And now, I am stepping into your story to bring public confirmation to private belief. There were moments when you wondered if you were imagining my voice. Moments when you questioned whether the promises you held on to were real. Moments when you felt foolish for believing for things that seemed impossible. But you kept believing anyway. That is the faith heaven responds to. That is the faith that moves mountains. That is the faith that triggers miracles. Your quiet belief has reached its appointed time. And now, I am about to make visible what was once invisible. You will see alignment in places that were once silent. You will see evidence where there was once emptiness. You will see breakthrough where there was once stagnation. You will see promise where there was once disappointment. Your faith has not been disregarded. It has been building momentum, gathering weight, accumulating spiritual authority. And the moment of confirmation is approaching like dawn breaking after a long night. People who doubted you will witness it. People who underestimated you will see it. People who questioned your faith will confront the reality of what I've done in your life. But this confirmation is not for them. It is for you. It is my way of affirming that you heard me correctly, that you trusted me rightly, that your hope was not misplaced. I am confirming your faith. I am confirming your obedience. I am confirming your trust. And when the confirmation comes, you will realize that nothing you believed for in the dark was wasted. It was simply waiting for my perfect time to be revealed. Hear this with awe, because I am revealing something greater than your expectations. What you are about to walk into is bigger, far bigger, than anything you prayed for, asked for, imagined, or dared to hope for. You prayed according to what you could see. You hoped according to what you thought was possible. You believed according to the size of your understanding. But I am not limited to the size of your requests. I am not confined by your imagination. I am not restricted by the scope of your prayers. What I am preparing for you exceeds the boundaries of what you thought was achievable. You prayed for healing, but I am bringing restoration. You prayed for provision, but I am releasing overflow. You prayed for direction, but I am unveiling destiny. You prayed for strength, but I am giving authority. You prayed for survival, but I am positioning you for abundance. You prayed for a door, but I am preparing a path. You asked for just enough, because pain taught you to minimize your expectations. But I am the God who gives more than enough, and I am about to prove it. There were moments when your prayers were small because disappointment made you cautious. There were seasons when you lowered your hopes because you could not endure another heartbreak. There were times when you only prayed for the strength to make it through the day. And even then, I heard you. I honored every whisper. But I also prepared something far beyond what your weary heart could imagine. What you're walking into will surprise you. It will humble you. It will overwhelm you, not with fear, but with wonder. You will say, I didn't know it could be this good. I didn't know it could happen like this. I didn't know the answer would look like this. You will realize that while you were asking for what you needed, I was preparing what would transform you. You are not stepping into a small blessing. You are stepping into a divine expansion. Your prayers were seeds, but I am bringing a harvest. Your requests were windows, but I am opening gates. Your hopes were sparks, but I am releasing fire. What you're walking into is bigger than your prayers, because my love for you is bigger than your understanding, and my plans for you are beyond anything your past could have prepared you for. Listen to me with a heart ready to receive more than what you thought you needed. You asked me for a breakthrough, but what I am bringing into your life is transformation, a complete, undeniable, irreversible shift that affects not just one area of your life, but everything connected to you. You prayed for one door to open, but I am preparing multiple. You prayed for one burden to lift, but I am removing weights you forgot you were carrying. You prayed for one situation to change, but I am renewing your entire environment. Breakthrough fixes a moment. Transformation reshapes your destiny. You have been believing for a specific answer, a targeted miracle, a single turning point. But I have been preparing something deeper, richer, more profound. A transformation that will touch your identity, your vision, your relationships, your mindset, your confidence, your purpose, and your direction. There were seasons when you prayed small because you were tired, because you were hurting, because you didn't have the strength to imagine anything bigger than relief. I understood that. I saw the sincerity of your prayers. I saw the desperation in your tears. But even while you whispered small requests, I was forming a large transformation, one that your spirit was not ready to see, but your destiny was always meant to receive. Breakthroughs repair cracks. Transformations rebuild foundations. And I am rebuilding you from the inside out. You will notice it first in how you think. The heaviness that once clouded your mind will fade. You will feel it next in how you speak. Hope will return to your voice effortlessly. Then you will see it in your actions, confidence rising without fear holding your steps hostage. Then you will witness it in your surroundings, opportunities aligning, relationships shifting, blessings meeting you without striving. This transformation is not temporary. It is permanent. It is not surface level. It is deep-rooted. It is not partial. It is complete. I am not just breaking chains. I am rewriting entire chapters. I am not just fixing what hurt you. I am restoring what was stolen. I am not just giving you blessings. I am reshaping you into someone who can steward those blessings with wisdom and strength. You asked me for a breakthrough because you thought one moment would change everything. But I am giving you transformation because I want you to become everything I created you to be. Hear me with the full weight of redemption settling upon your spirit. I am positioning you for a blessing that will not simply comfort your heart. It will make up for years of loss, disappointment, delay, and heartache. You have endured seasons where you felt robbed. You walked through years where you wondered why things seemed to fall apart in your hands. You questioned why your efforts yielded little. You struggled through moments where life felt unfair, where opportunities bypassed you, where relationships dissolved, where dreams slipped through your fingers. In your quiet moments, you asked me, Lord, will anything ever compensate for all I've been through? And my answer is yes, overwhelmingly yes. I am the God who restores time, the God who redeems seasons, the God who returns what was stolen with increase. What you lost was not the end of the story. It was a setup for the kind of blessing that carries weight, depth, and recompense. This blessing is not a simple addition to your life. It is a divine reimbursement, a supernatural payback for everything you endured with perseverance, patience, and faithfulness. You will see me return years to you, not only in what you receive but in who you become. The blessing that is coming will reach back into the wounds of your past and heal them with abundance. It will overshadow what hurt you. It will outshine what broke you. It will silence what discouraged you. You will look at your life soon and say, "The years I lost have been redeemed. The tears I cried have been answered. The prayers I prayed have been honored. The pain I endured has been compensated. I do not forget your suffering. I do not overlook your sacrifices. I do not ignore the seasons where you felt alone, unseen, and empty-handed. I am positioning you now, aligning people, timing, resources, connections, and opportunities, so that what comes next will not only bless you, but restore you. What is ahead will not match what you lost. It will exceed it. You will not simply recover. You will overflow. You will not simply rise, you will soar. The blessing coming to you carries redemption in every part of it. Listen with a spirit ready to release old frustration. You will soon look back at the long seasons of waiting, the delays, the closed doors, the unanswered prayers, the seeming standstills, and understand with clarity and gratitude why those seasons were absolutely necessary. Waiting felt like punishment. Waiting felt like silence. Waiting felt like stagnation. You wrestled with impatience. You questioned your worth. You wondered whether you misheard my voice. You doubted whether anything would ever change. And yet, in the hidden places of time, I was preparing things that could not be rushed, developing strength within you that could not be forced, and aligning blessings that would have collapsed if given prematurely. Every season of waiting was a season of becoming. You were not stuck. You were being shaped. Unpaused but prepared. Left forgotten, but refined. You learned patience. You learned discernment. You learned resilience. You learned to recognize my voice. You learned to walk in faith even when evidence was absent. You learned to depend on me instead of depending on circumstances. You learned to trust timing instead of fearing delay. And because of this, you are no longer the same person who first prayed for these miracles. You are wiser. You are deeper. You are stronger. You are grounded. When the fullness of your blessing arrives, you will finally see why rushing would have ruined you. You will see why earlier doors would have distracted you. You will see why premature opportunities would have overwhelmed you. You will see why I said not yet when you begged me to say now. Waiting is not a waste when I am the one who authored it. Waiting is me protecting what you prayed for. Waiting is me protecting you. And soon, very soon, when the pieces align, when the breakthrough unfolds, when the miracle manifests, you will look back and realize that the waiting was not a delay. It was a divine strategy. You will say with conviction, "It had to happen this way. I needed that time. I needed that growth. I needed that refinement. And now I see why." You will understand that every moment of waiting was working for your good, preparing you for the very thing that is now approaching your life with purpose and promise. Hear me with a clarity that brings peace to every confused memory. There are doors I kept closed in your life not to punish you, not to frustrate you, not to delay you, but to protect you from pathways that would have harmed your spirit, drained your strength, and derailed your destiny. And soon, you will understand exactly why those doors had to stay shut. You spent years questioning my decisions. You asked why opportunities fell through. You wondered why certain relationships didn't work out. You mourned the dreams that didn't unfold the way you expected. You felt rejected when those doors closed, and you believed something was wrong with you. But hear me, nothing was wrong with you. The door was wrong for you. If I had opened those doors, they would have taken you farther from who you are, not closer to who you're becoming. You only saw the front of those doors, the promising appearance, the appealing surface, the temporary comfort. But I saw behind them. I saw the spiritual traps hidden there. I saw the emotional consequences you were not meant to carry. I saw the heartbreak waiting on the other side. I saw the misalignment that would have left you empty. Some doors would have fed your insecurities and starved your purpose. Some would have given you temporary excitement but long-term regret. Some would have looked like blessings but functioned like burdens. So I closed them. I closed them firmly. I closed them quickly. I closed them without explanation, because if I had explained it then, you wouldn't have understood. You were too close to the desire, too attached to the idea, too unaware of the danger. But now you are maturing. You are growing. You are seeing with clear eyes. And soon, as the right doors open, the ones aligned with your calling, your identity, your healed heart, and your future, you will look back and thank me for every no, every not yet, every this isn't your door. The closed doors were not setbacks, they were safeguards. They were not losses, they were layers of protection. They were not rejections, they were redirections. And what is coming will make everything make sense. Receive this revelation with tenderness. Everything I blocked, everything I withheld, everything I redirected, everything I prevented, even the things you begged me for, was done to protect your future, not punish your present. I need you to truly understand this, because for too long you internalized my protection as rejection. You convinced yourself that my no meant you weren't worthy. You believed my silence meant you weren't seen. You thought my redirection meant you had failed. But child, my protection has always looked like prevention. Preventing heartache you couldn't see coming. Preventing trauma disguised as opportunity. Preventing connections that would have drained you. Preventing environments that would have suffocated your growth. There were situations you desperately wanted to work out, but they weren't aligned with who you were becoming. There were people you tried to hold on to, but they couldn't carry the weight of the next chapter. There were paths you hoped to walk, but they didn't lead to the places I designed for you. There were desires that felt right emotionally, but spiritually they were wrong. And I love you too deeply to allow temporary longing to destroy long-term destiny. Sometimes my protection comes disguised as disappointment. Sometimes my love comes wrapped in delay. Sometimes my guidance comes through unanswered prayers. Sometimes my care comes through closed doors. It didn't mean you weren't ready. It meant the situation wasn't worthy of you. You needed something stronger, healthier, deeper, more aligned with the calling on your life. And every blockage was a divine shield around your future self. Soon, when you step into what I have prepared, into blessings that fit your healed heart, relationships that honor your worth, opportunities that match your growth, you will look back and say, "Now I understand. Now I see. Now I know I was being protected, not punished." My love has always been in the details you didn't understand, and the future I'm leading you into will prove it. Lean into me now, because I'm revealing one of the most powerful truths of your journey. The pain that once confused you, the heartbreaks, the losses, the betrayals, the disappointments, will soon become the very clarity that guides you into your next level. I know there were seasons when you asked me, why did this happen? Why did I have to experience this? What was the purpose in the hurt? You carried pain that felt pointless. You endured moments that felt unfair. You replayed memories that brought more questions than answers. But hear me. None of your pain was wasted and none of it was meaningless. What felt like destruction was actually instruction. What felt like breaking was building. What felt like the end was the beginning of wisdom, resilience, discernment, and depth. Pain has a way of sharpening your vision. It reveals what you could not see before. It exposes what was hidden. It teaches you what comfort cannot. Pain showed you who your true friends were. Pain revealed the strength you didn't know you had. Pain exposed the habits that needed to be healed. Pain awakened parts of your spirit that were asleep. Pain stripped away illusions and forced you to see reality. And though it felt harsh, it was transforming you into someone who can walk confidently into destiny without being misled by what once deceived you. Soon, the very experiences that broke you will become the compass that guides you. You will see red flags where you once ignored them. You will discern voices that once manipulated you. You will identify opportunities that once confused you. You will choose with confidence where you once chose from insecurity. Your pain has created wisdom. Your disappointments have created discernment. Your heartbreaks have created strength. Your confusion has created clarity. You are not stepping into the next season as who you were. You are stepping in as someone who can see clearly, love deeply, choose wisely, and walk boldly. And when the blessings arrive, you will know exactly how to steward them, because your pain trained you for wisdom your comfort never could. The clarity is coming, and it will redeem every moment that once hurt you. 56. The wounds you tried to hide are the very places I am pouring my healing into. Listen closely, because this truth reaches into the most tender part of your soul. The wounds you tried to hide, the ones you covered with silence, strength, distraction, or denial, are the very places where my healing power is pouring in most deeply. For so long, you believed you had to conceal your pain to appear strong. You believed you had to smile through brokenness because you didn't want to burden anyone. You believed you had to keep certain memories buried because revisiting them felt too painful to endure. But child, the wounds you hide do not scare me. The wounds you cover do not threaten me. The wounds you carry do not disappoint me. If anything, they draw me nearer, because I do my greatest work in the places you are most afraid to expose. There are hurts from your past you never fully addressed, words spoken over you that pierced your identity, betrayals that shattered your trust, losses that left you numb, regrets that you still carry quietly. Each of these wounds influenced how you saw yourself and how you moved through life. They shaped your fears, your defenses, your insecurities, and even your expectations of me. But hear me, I am not leaving those wounds untouched. I am not ignoring the silent pain. I am entering the very depths of your brokenness with gentleness, with light, with truth, and with restoration. My healing does not shame you for hurting. My healing does not rush your process. My healing does not force you to pretend. My healing meets you in the exact emotional and spiritual state you're in, even the pieces you think are too messy or too complicated to fix. I am touching the wounds that no one else knows about. I am mending the injuries you stopped talking about. I am binding the places you thought would always remain fragile. Healing is not just for the obvious pain. It is for the hidden pain, the buried pain, the unspoken pain. And as I heal you, I am not simply closing wounds, I am rewriting the meaning they held over your life. You will rise from this season with a strength that comes from healed places, not hardened ones. You will no longer make decisions from fear. You will no longer react from shame. You will no longer build walls from insecurity. You will no longer navigate life from trauma. Healing will transform how you see yourself, how you love others, how you trust, how you hope, and how you live. So do not be afraid of what I am bringing to the surface. I am not exposing your wounds to hurt you. I am exposing them to heal you completely. Hear this with the reverence of someone about to see a divine reversal. Every tear you cried, every single one, was collected, noticed, honored, and used to water the very soil of the next season you are stepping into. You thought your tears were signs of weakness. You thought they were evidence of your exhaustion. You thought they meant you were failing. But in my eyes, your tears were seeds, seeds of faith, seeds of surrender, seeds of longing, seeds of truth. They fell into the ground of your journey and began nourishing the roots of what is about to bloom in your life. You cried in loneliness. You cried in confusion. You cried in heartbreak. You cried in frustration. You cried in surrender. You cried in silence. You cried with prayers that had no words. And sometimes you cried not because you lacked faith, but because you felt deeply, loved deeply, hoped deeply, and lived through more than most people ever realized. Not one of those tears fell unnoticed. Not one tear was forgotten. Heaven keeps record of what earth ignores. Your tears softened the soil of your heart so that healing could take root. Your tears watered the seeds of future blessings you couldn't yet see. Your tears broke the hardened ground of old wounds so new growth could emerge. Your tears were prayers in liquid form, carrying depth your words could not express. And because of that, your tears carry weight in the spiritual realm. They have shaped the breakthrough that is now forming around you. You are entering a season where joy will flow from the same places that once poured out sorrow, where clarity will rise from the same places that once birthed confusion, where abundance will grow from the same ground that once felt barren, where gratitude will bloom in the very areas where grief once lived. You will look back and realize that the moments you felt most broken were the moments that made room for me to build something new within you. Treat your tears with honor, child. They watered the roots of your miracle. Let this truth settle into the deepest part of you. While you thought nothing was happening, while life felt stagnant, while prayer seemed unanswered, while your circumstances looked unchanged, I was rewriting your story behind the scenes, shaping outcomes you couldn't see, preparing breakthroughs you couldn't sense, and aligning events you didn't realize were shifting in your favor. You believed you were standing still. You believed you were stuck. You believed you were forgotten. But not one moment of your waiting was empty. I was writing chapters you weren't aware of, moving pieces you couldn't observe, orchestrating connections you hadn't met yet, and preparing blessings that required silence to grow. You don't realize how many things I shielded you from while you thought nothing was happening. You don't know how many closed doors protected you from heartbreak. You don't know how many delayed answers prevented disaster. You don't know how many reroutes saved you from stepping into environments that weren't designed for your future. My hand was active even when my voice felt quiet. My work was constant even when your emotions felt numb. There is a reason certain prayer didn't unfold when you expected. There is a reason certain desires took longer to mature. There is a reason certain relationships shifted, certain opportunities paused, certain seasons extended. I was writing a story that required more depth, more healing, more wisdom, more timing, and more alignment than what you could understand in the moment. I was weaving together things that needed time to connect. I was aligning purpose with place. I was strengthening you for what I was strengthening around you. And soon, you will step into a sequence of unfolding events, an acceleration, a momentum, a divine flow that will make you realize just how much was happening behind the scenes while you thought I was silent. You will see the plot lines converge. You will recognize the divine fingerprints on each moment. You will say, "This didn't happen suddenly. It was being prepared all along." Your story has never been stagnant. It has been under construction. And now, the chapter I've been writing is about to be revealed. 59. Your story is about to turn a corner you didn't see coming. Hear me with expectancy rising in your spirit. Your story is about to turn a corner so unexpectedly, so beautifully, so powerfully, that you will look back and realize the path you thought was leading nowhere was actually guiding you straight into breakthrough. You have walked through what felt like a long, unchanging hallway of waiting, days where nothing shifted, months where everything felt stale, seasons where movement seemed impossible. You wondered if you had misunderstood my direction. You questioned whether the promises you were holding on to were ever meant for you. You felt the heaviness of monotony pressing against your hope. But child, what you could not see was the bend in the road, the divine pivot, the hidden shift, the turning point position just beyond your current visibility. In your moments of doubt, you thought the silence meant the end. But my silence was strategy. My stillness was alignment. My hiddenness was preparation. You were never walking toward emptiness. You were walking toward a divinely planned corner, one that would reveal a completely new landscape of opportunity, blessing, and direction. Corners in your story appear without announcement. They come suddenly, quietly, and often after seasons of discouragement. They are the moments where disappointment turns to purpose, confusion turns to clarity, and sorrow turns to joy. This corner is not random. It is the result of everything I have been aligning behind the scenes. You are about to encounter divine connections, open doors, fresh direction, and supernatural momentum. What once felt slow will accelerate. What once felt delayed will unfold with a. What once felt distant will draw near. And what once felt impossible will suddenly appear within reach. You will not turn this corner in fear. You will turn it in triumph. And when you turn, you will see why the straight path felt so long. You will recognize that every step you took in faith, every moment you endured, every tear you shed, every prayer you whispered contributed to the strength needed for what lies ahead. You are approaching a shift, and it will unfold in such a way that you will lift your hands in awe and say, I didn't see this coming, but God prepared it perfectly. Your story is not staying here. You are turning a corner. You are stepping into newness. You are walking into destiny written with your name on it. Listen to me with the understanding of someone about to witness divine orchestration. The quiet you feel right now, the stillness in your spirit, the pause in your circumstances, the silence of unanswered prayers, is not emptiness. It is preparation. I am setting the stage for something big, something significant, something that requires the calm before the unveiling. You have mistaken this quiet season as inactivity. You assumed the stillness meant nothing was happening. You feared that the silence meant abandonment. But child, a stage is always quiet while it is being set. The lights dim. The noise fades. The audience waits. And behind the curtain, everything is being arranged for a moment of impact. I am aligning people, shaping circumstances, preparing opportunities, and repositioning you internally so that when everything unfolds, it will unfold without hindrance, without confusion, and without delay. The quiet is not punishment, it is precision. It is me carefully placing every piece exactly where it needs to be. If you sought everything too soon, you would misunderstand it. If you received everything prematurely, you would mishandle it. If I rushed this moment, the blessing would not have the foundation it needs to last. Do not misinterpret this silence. The quiet is holy. The quiet is intentional. The quiet is the final breath before change. You have prayed for clarity, and clarity is forming in the high. You have prayed for movement, and movement is gathering right outside your view. You have prayed for breakthrough, and breakthrough is taking shape behind the scenes. Heaven often sounds like silence before it sounds like suddenly. Soon, very soon, the quiet will break. The stage will brighten. The curtain will lift. And everything I have prepared will come into full view. You will understand why this moment required stillness. You will realize that what you mistook as delay was actually divine arrangement. And you will say, with tears in your eyes and gratitude in your voice, Lord, you were working the whole time. Hold steady in the quiet. The stage is almost ready. Hear me with anticipation, because this is one of the greatest shifts of your journey. You are about to step into divine alignment. A season where everything begins to make sense, where scattered pieces come together, where confusion lifts, and where my purpose for your life becomes clear in ways it never has before. You have lived through seasons of fragmentation, moments where your emotions said one thing, your mind said another, your circumstances contradicted your prayers, and your spirit struggled to find clarity. You felt like certain parts of your life were advancing while others were stuck. You felt disjointed, disconnected, unsure of how anything fit together. But alignment is coming, and when it arrives, everything will begin to synchronize. Divine alignment means timing, relationships, opportunities, direction, and spiritual clarity all begin moving together in harmony. It means you no longer feel torn between who you were and who you are becoming. It means the confusion that clouded your decisions begins to settle. It means the lingering questions that followed you for years begin finding answers. It means the delays that frustrated you reveal their hidden purpose. It means the random experiences of your life suddenly connect like pieces of a puzzle, forming a complete picture. Alignment is not something you force. It is something I bring. It is the moment when what is inside of you matches what is around you. When your gifts, your healing, your wisdom, your preparation, and your opportunities all meet at the same point in time. This is why the waiting felt so long. This is why the pruning felt so painful. This is why the lessons felt so repetitive. I was shaping every part of you until it all aligned with the destiny I designed. You will soon feel a sense of flow, decisions becoming easier, direction becoming clearer, relationships becoming healthier, and peace becoming natural. You will not have to wrestle with confusion anymore. You will not feel scattered anymore. You will not feel spiritually torn anymore. When alignment comes, it brings clarity that stretches into every corner of your life. And as divine alignment settles over you, you will realize that nothing was accidental. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was random. Everything was leading here, to this moment where your purpose, your preparation, and my promise finally come together in perfect unity. Hear me with the awe of someone stepping into an atmosphere saturated with favor. This next season of your life will feel as though doors are opening before you even touch them, as if your very presence triggers movement, alignment, and opportunity. You have lived through seasons where every step felt heavy. You pushed doors that did not move. You knocked until your knuckles felt bruised. You prayed until your voice trembled. You waited until your hope felt thin. You wondered why everything seemed to take so much effort, why every advancement felt uphill, why every blessing felt like a battle. But child, I am shifting the atmosphere around you. You are entering a season where the work you once had to fight for will begin meeting you before you even reach for it. This is not coincidence. This is divine orchestration, the evidence of heaven going before you. Understand this. Open doors are not simply opportunities. Open doors are signs of alignment, proof that your preparation, your healing, your obedience, your endurance, and my timing have converged. In this season, the doors that open will not require manipulation. They will not require desperation. They will not require you to shrink yourself, bend yourself, or compromise your identity in the process. These doors will recognize you. They will respond to the authority I have placed inside you. When you approach, they will open because you belong there, because you are ready, because the timing is right. You will feel the shift in subtle but undeniable ways. Conversations will align. Invitations will appear unexpectedly. People will reach out to you with a prompting. Ideas will gain traction instantly. Resources will connect themselves to your purpose. You will feel as though something greater than you is moving ahead of you. And that is exactly what is happening. I am clearing the way. I am softening hearts. I am preparing environments. I am aligning circumstances before you arrive. You will walk into rooms where the atmosphere has already been prepared for your voice, your gift, your presence, your calling. This is a season where your effort will be met by my acceleration, where your steps will be matched with supernatural ease, where what once took years will happen in moments. And when it happens, you will know it was me, because no human strategy could orchestrate doors that open before your hands even reach out. Walk confidently. The doors are waiting for you. Hear me in the deepest place of your spirit. Your life is about to move so quickly, so purposefully, so undeniably, that your doubts won't even have time to keep up with what I'm unfolding. You have carried doubts quietly, doubts about your worth, your ability, your calling, your future, your capacity to handle blessings. You doubted whether you were truly chosen. You doubted whether you were capable. You doubted whether you were prepared. You doubted whether what I promised was possible. And though you kept walking, those doubts lingered like shadows behind you. But child, the pace of what I'm about to release in your life will outrun every shadow of fear that has followed you. There comes a moment in every destiny where I accelerate so quickly that insecurity cannot latch on. That moment is approaching. You will not have time to question whether you're qualified. The opportunity will unfold too fast. You will not have time to question whether you're ready. The grace will rush in before hesitation can speak. You will not have time to question whether you belong. The alignment will be so perfect that your spirit will recognize it instantly. The speed I am bringing is not meant to overwhelm you. It's meant to silence everything that once held you back. Your doubts were loud in the waiting. They were loud in the silence. They were loud in the long seasons where nothing seemed to move. But doubts cannot survive acceleration. When blessings begin to manifest one after another, when clarity starts forming rapidly, when doors swing open unexpectedly, when provision arrives suddenly, your doubts will collapse under the weight of undeniable evidence. You won't have to talk yourself into believing anymore. You won't have to wrestle with internal voices. You won't have to fight fear every day. Blessings will begin confirming what your faith tried to hold on to for years. And child, this fast movement is not reckless, it's precise. It comes after years of struggle, growth, and refinement. You are not being rushed. You are being released. And the pace of this release will prove to you that the season of hesitation is over. I am moving you forward faster than your doubt can follow. Listen with holy reverence. The momentum that is about to sweep through your life is not the result of your effort, your strategy, your strength, or your planning. It is heavenly, supernatural, and divinely orchestrated. You have worked hard. You have persevered. You have done your part. But what is coming next will feel bigger than your ability, beyond your influence, and outside your natural reach. This is because the shift taking place is not man-made. It is not gradual. It is not logical. It is heaven-backed, heaven-driven, heaven-powered. You will begin to sense an invisible force moving you forward, not pushing you harshly, but guiding you confidently. The momentum will feel effortless, but not passive. It will feel powerful, but not overwhelming. It will feel miraculous, but at the same time strangely natural, because your spirit has been prepared for this pace even while your mind doubted it. This momentum will touch every area of your life: relationships, finances, purpose, opportunities, creativity, confidence, and emotional healing. Things that were once stuck will suddenly move. Things that felt delayed will suddenly align. Things that were closed will suddenly open. This is not something you could manufacture. You couldn't force it if you tried. You couldn't plan it even at your most strategic. You couldn't make it happen with the best connections or the strongest willpower. And that is exactly why it will be undeniable, because you will know it wasn't you. You will know it wasn't luck. You will know it wasn't coincidence. You will know it was me. This heavenly momentum is coming because you stayed faithful when things were slow. You stayed obedient when things were unclear. You stayed hopeful when circumstances tried to break you. You kept walking, even when your pace was shaky. And now, heaven is responding with acceleration you could never earn but are now fully ready to receive. Prepare your heart, because what is coming is not normal momentum. It is divine momentum. And once it begins, it will not stop. Hear me with the full force of heaven behind these words. You are next in line, and the miracle you have been waiting for is already moving toward you. Not slowly, not hesitantly, but with divine precision and unstoppable momentum. You have spent years feeling like you were always almost there, always on the edge, always close but not quite. You felt others receive their breakthroughs while you quietly held on to hope. You watched people testify while you silently wondered when your turn would come. You saw doors open for others while you tried to celebrate them through the sting of your own waiting. Yet even in those moments when you felt passed over, I want you to know this truth. You were never forgotten. You were being positioned. You are next not because you pushed the hardest, not because you prayed the loudest, not because you were the strongest, but because the timing of your miracle has finally matured. What you are stepping into is not a recycled blessing. It is not leftover favor. It is not an accidental opening. Your miracle has been handcrafted, preserved, protected, and prepared uniquely for you. With your story in mind, your wounds in mind, your growth in mind, your calling in mind. It did not arrive earlier because you were still being shaped into the version of yourself capable of carrying it fully. And now heaven has whispered, "They're ready." This miracle is not crawling toward you. It is rushing. It is accelerating. It is breaking through barriers you don't even know existed. Every delay you endured was part of a spiritual alignment, not punishment, not denial. You weren't being pushed back, you were being prepared for impact. And now that alignment is complete. You are standing in the exact position required for manifestation. This is why you felt the strange mix of restlessness and anticipation recently. Your spirit has sensed the shift before your eyes can see it. And child, you will not have to chase this miracle. You will not have to beg for it. You will not have to force it. What is meant for you is arriving toward you, not away from you. It is coming around corners you didn't expect. It is emerging from directions you never imagined. It is unfolding in ways you could not have orchestrated even with your best planning. This miracle has been assigned to you, and what is assigned cannot be intercepted. Very soon, the waiting season will turn into the receiving season. You will feel the shift tangibly, in your emotions, in your opportunities, in your relationships, in your environment, in your spirit. Suddenly things will click. Suddenly things will align. Suddenly things will open. Suddenly things will flow. The same way long seasons felt painfully slow, This next season will feel breathtakingly fast. And when it arrives, you will not doubt it for a moment. Your heart will recognize it as something only I could have orchestrated, something saturated with divine fingerprints. You will stand in awe, realizing that everything you endured has led you to this exact moment. You are next in line, child. And your miracle is already on its way. Amen.